Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Pylon Show, episode number 145. I know it's been a little while since you guys have seen us, but it turns out that if they keep inviting me to Sweden every second week and I have to be there for 6 days straight, I just can't do a Pylon Show. And then the one time we could have done a Pylon Show, ESL's like, let's make up for the one weekly we missed on the Wednesday evening. And I was like, well, that obviously has priority as well. But today there isn't a whole lot going on, so we are finally back. And I'm honestly very excited to talk about everything that has happened in the world of StarCraft 2 over the last, let's say, give or take 3-4 weeks. I'm going to cover a couple of the big tournaments. We'll obviously kick things off with the weeklies. But first, I'm going to go ahead and introduce the amazing set of guests I have today. This is kind of the lineup that I've been going for a while, and I'm incredibly happy to be joined by 4 very passionate and unique, different individuals. Let's start off with the best observer the world has ever seen. Oh my god, we have 2 observers over here. I mean, who am I going to give? Who am I going to
take care. I was ready to hear Indy.
No. I wanted to be sweet to you, so I'm always mean to Koka, but not today because Koka is joining us, and I'm very happy. For the people who don't know, Koka is, of course, a full-time member of the O Gaming squad. He has been streaming, casting for many years, and is also an observer of some of the big tournaments. So, welcome, Koka. Ça va et toi, mon ami?
Écoute, super. I'm super happy to be here with you guys. First time for me to be in the Pylon show, and yeah, Rotti being nice with me is pretty surprising. So yeah, good vibe here. Super happy.
I'm only mean to you because I know you can take it. Come on, man. You are famous in France. You're handsome. You have a beautiful lady. You can take a little banter of Rotti. Let's be real. Next up, I am joined by the Passion Lord of the CIS region, tournament organizer, caster, streamer, great player. I don't know what you haven't done yet in your career, Alex. Thank you so much for joining us today. How are you doing, mate?
What I haven't done before, I haven't joined the Pylon show before. So that was missing. So thank you very much for the invitation. Well, I'm doing great. I hope we'll have a lot of cool conversations today.
I'm honestly not worried about it at all, having you on board today, because I know you're very passionate and you're also a very outspoken man. So I think you're perfect for the Pylon show today. Next up, another phenomenal observer and a man who's grinding, no longer barcoding, and that makes me incredibly happy. Hailing from Poland. What's up, Indy? How's everything going for you, mate?
Yeah, I'm good. I had stream already today from the next tournament, and all good. Happy to be there for the second time. Last time was like 50 or more editions, like 43 maybe. It was the Pylons episode, so a long time ago, but good to be here.
All right, thank you very much for taking some time out of your day. And last but not least, another new face to the Pylon show. A man who actually DM'd me. He said, Rotti, I want to be on the Pylon show. I'm like, mate, I want people to be on the Pylon show. So thank you so much for reaching out to me. I make some fun of him every now and then, saying that he's an all-inner, but apparently an honorable macro player. Hailing from India. What's up, Demi? How are we doing today, mate?
I'm doing really good. It's an honor to be on a show like this with so many amazing people. So hopefully today it goes well.
All right. What was your main reason for really wanting to be on the Pylon show since you reached out to me?
I kind of forgot. I feel like I think it's been a really long time since there's been anyone from our region representing us on the Pylon show. So I thought it'd be cool to, to have a new face up there. So that's why I kind of reached out.
Well, I absolutely agree, mate, and I love hearing from you. I'm obviously happy to see that after all these years, because I know you've been around for a long time, you are still enjoying a beautiful scene. All right, so I have a little tradition, guys. Per tradition, we're going to kick things off with the 3 weeklies that always happen on the Monday. If you guys wonder, where can I watch these weekly tournaments? Wardy streams them, Statfest streams them, Indy is always streaming them as well in Polish. We have a lot of native casters. I'm obviously broadcasting them as well. So you guys, if you want to follow these tournaments live, you just have to head over to some of the personal streams or just open TeamLiquid on either 6 p.m. Central European time on a Monday or basically midnight CET, so 6 p.m. on the East Coast. And there you guys can watch all the weeklies. Let's kick things off with number 99, as the Korean one is always first. And apparently, they somehow had a ZVZ final. I don't think any of you guys is necessarily always broadcasting this, but Demi, you play in the Korean one every now and then, right?
A ZVZ finals is kind of unexpected. Usually you see something like a PvP finals or a PvT finals, But that was kind of rare to see that this week, honestly.
Yeah, it's honestly rare for any region. It seems like they had a pretty decent show up as well. Overall, some big names showing up. Dongragu getting a 3-0 over Zest in the StarCraft. What the hell happened over there?
What happened? I have no clue, man. I didn't cover Korean one. I was up for European one, but yeah, it's funny to see all those legends after those years competing in small tournaments. Like it feels like they try to there's possibility that there might be 15 months left of StarCraft, and so they are trying to squeeze everything they can to show and play as much as they can. It's good to see.
Quality entertainment. I mean, to be fair, mate, there are so many esports out there that would be incredibly jealous. Like, we have a lot of things to complain about, and we will definitely complain about them today. Because today, we are fed up with stuff from Blizzard. But I gotta say, though, we are still very lucky to just casually have 3 $800 tournaments 3 times a week. Obviously, a big shout out to ESL and Shopify for making this happen. Because these tourneys are honestly quite big. They're very fun to follow. And apparently we had a ZVZ final for the first time in a long time in Korea. Congrats to Dark for getting the job done. But amazing run by Dongragu, beating Juanito, beating Ryung. But the 3-0 over Zest, that's obviously a big one. So let's move on to the one that we do all cover and that we do all watch. And that is the European Weekly, also known as the Big Gabe Weekly, number 99. And Gabe, after he had a disappointing number 98 where he lost to Vanya, he just needed a break from tournaments, Alex. Do you also have this every now and then, where you just need a break from tournaments, if it doesn't work out on the Monday night?
Yeah, I think so. Sometimes a break might be needed. But you know what? Looking at this bracket, I'm really disappointed there is no King Cobra beating Clem or somebody like him, because I'm already used to this kind of stuff in ESL Cups. This time, unfortunately, Clem wasn't stopped by King Cobra, so yeah.
I gotta say, for me, the standout performance of the night, and there is a little asterisk behind it, because Reynor was actually in the bottom side of the bracket, but Reynor had some laptop issues in England, so he forfeited. So that kind of opened up the possibility for a surprising name in the semis. And Indy, a man like Spats, making it all the way to the semis. I mean, I'm obviously close with him. I like him a lot. But if Spats can do it, where is Indy StarCraft in the semifinals,
I was told by Nikorakt. I don't know if you recall him, but probably yes. And he's master of 2 bases like Big Gabe used to be, but nowadays Big Gabe is obviously a complete player. He can do anything. So yeah, he had another surprise finals, because whenever I see Clem Hero Marine, I'm more biased towards Clem. But last I think King of Battles quarterfinals it was, where Big Gabe truly showed he can handle the pressure and do a big comeback even against Clem. And here he beats him again. So this is a beautiful fight between Clem and Hero Marine, who's the best run in Europe, and another weekly won by Gabe over Clem.
Yeah, I mean, Gabe is just a sicko. Koka, I think we're all Clem fanboys. It's impossible not to be a fan of Clem. He's such a likable kid. We know he's incredibly good. And I do still believe, from the bottom of my heart, Clem is the better TVZ and TVP player. But Gabe is honestly just starting to have his number in TVT. It's hard to disagree with that statement, right?
Yeah, definitely. It's like TVP, TVZ, Clem is probably better than Euromarine. But in TVT, like during a time, Clem was just pressuring him way too much. Like every time they were playing, I felt like Euromarine was like in his base trying to survive as much as he could. And now I would say like Euromarine pushed his level a bit, trying to micro more, to be more aggressive, to think to all the possibilities. And I feel like he's countering Clem pretty well now in TVT. Like Clem has to find new options to maybe defeat Euromarine like he did before, because now it's pretty even. And I would say maybe Euromarine is maybe more regular now, like during the last 2 months. So yeah, he kind of keep his super strong defense and added the few micro sessions you have to be able to accomplish against Clem, because if you don't, you just get overwhelmed by this little kid playing like 400 APM. So yeah, no, Euromarine is definitely, I think, the best TVT in Europe actually nowadays.
Yeah, I don't think any of us on this call would disagree with it. Not a whole lot of Zergies here. Demi, yeah, who's to get excited? It's nice to see Elazer playing the weekly, but Elazer losing 0-2 against Kalazur. How do you see Miko right now as a fellow Zerg player? I know you've always watched a lot of Miko, but where do you put him?
I think he's definitely the top 3 or top 4 Zergs in Europe. But his series against Kelzo, I feel like that could have gone either way, and maybe he just wasn't feeling it on the day. So I definitely think I watch a lot of his games. It's always a pleasure every time there's a replay pack and there's a bunch of laser games. There's always so much you can learn from him. I also tune into his streams where he gives a bunch of newbies like us, newbies like me, advice, like stuff that I didn't even know before. So he's a pretty good guy, honestly.
Do you show him replays where you bailing boss me, mate? And is he going to tell you how you could have done it even more efficiently, or some actual games?
Nah, not those Sazo games.
All right. Well, anyway, congrats to Gabe, of course, for getting another big one done. I believe this was number 39, which is impressive, guys. Until I just hosted the Warcraft 3 tournament last week, and they have a weekly as well. They don't have a weekly as big as ours. I think it's only $100 for the winner. Second place gets nothing. So they've had around 96, I believe, of the Warcraft 3 European Weekly. Happy has played in 85 of them, and he has won 82. Like,
What?
Yeah.
And the 2 he lost, that was of racing or something, right? He lost internet or something.
I think indeed in one of them he off-raced, but I think there are 2 actual losses. One against Blade and one time against Foggy. But I was like, man, I'm proud of Gabe for winning 90 or 39 out of 99. That's really good. But compared to Happy, these are rookie numbers, man. Step it up, Gabe. What are we doing? Anyway, obviously, well done. Next week is number 100. We're going to talk about it real soon. But let's get over to the American Weekly before we wrap up this little segment. And it was a fun one. Alex, Ukraine represented in the grand finals. It's been a while, hasn't it?
Yeah, basically when I woke up and I saw the bracket, I was like, what happened? Like, how is this even possible? Of course, Hellraiser being an absolute beast in the CIS scene, but I feel he constantly lacked some kind of success in international tournaments, especially like in major ones. So we are not really used to the fact that Hellraiser is actually capable of beating top Koreans and even top Europeans like Max Pax. Of course, it happens from time to time, but it's not like we're used to it. So of course, I'm extremely happy about these results, and Hellraiser was really, really close to Zest in the finals. And I mean, we have IEM Katowice coming up in a few months. When I see these kind of results, I'm becoming excited because maybe, who knows, maybe Hellraiser or Skillos or anybody else from CIS is really able to show good results there, considering these kind of matches in ESL Cups.
Indy, this is honestly one of the most surprising, almost out of nowhere, impressive runs I've seen in a while. 2-0 Gerald, 2-1 Dark, 3-2 Max Pax, and narrowly losing in the grand finals against Zest. If it didn't happen, I wouldn't believe it, because I'm like, yeah, Hellraiser is good, but I honestly didn't think he was capable of this. How impressed were you?
Yeah, every single result seems like winning against Geralt. It's maybe Geralt was tired or something. Things can happen. I think Geralt has better PvP, but yeah, this time Hellraiser proved wrong. But then Dark is like, what? Like Dark seemed impossible to beat in this matchup, especially for a foreigner for a long time. And there it is. And then Max Pax, which is like king of PvP outside of Korea. He has rivalry between him and Showtime, but usually I think very often Max Pax wins this. And Hellraiser won 3-2. It was so close. I feel bad for Bogdan because he lost that final, but it was a run that he will remember for a long time, sure.
Yeah, honestly, very impressive stuff. Shame he couldn't go all the way, because then it would have been one of the sickest victories I've seen in a while, but still really cool to see Hellraiser do so well. Alex, I assume that out of all of us, you're the closest to Hellraiser. I like Hellraiser. He's a very nice guy, especially at offline events, and he's always been very fun to watch. But I do feel like his Twitter is pretty negative. No, he seems to complain a lot. Like, is this something that we should take with a grain of salt, or is this generally how he feels? And do you think it's hindering his potential success in his game?
That's a good question. I actually feel that Hellraiser, maybe he lacked some motivation to practice from time to time, and maybe he's still lacking. So I believe that whenever he has any kind of issues and in-game flows, he tries to basically to put it in this way that there is something wrong happening in the actual game instead of maybe taking it more seriously and working about some aspects of the game. I feel that I don't know. Maybe it's just because it's easier for him to perceive it this way. Because basically, whenever as a human you are facing some kind of issue in life, you have many different ways to deal with it. And one of the ways is to say, no, I'm not guilty, I haven't done anything wrong, it's some kind of circumstances around this. So maybe for Hellraiser, it's just easier to basically to blame something happening outside him, to focus on his actual game, his actual practice, and not think about these issues, to not connect them with some kind of flaws with his game. So I believe it may be just some kind of psychological defense which he builds for him. But I know what you mean about some of his posts in Twitter. I also tend to be, I don't know, maybe even toxic towards StarCraft 2 balance in Twitter. That's I don't know. That's like my approach to what happens in StarCraft. I don't think it is necessarily wrong. It's just you're that kind of person. It's okay if this doesn't mean you have some kind of issues in game. So I hope that whatever Hellraiser types in Twitter, he's still focused. He's still practicing. And I hope that he will be ready for major competitions coming, whatever happens in his Twitter.
Yeah, I remember one time when Bogdan was saying that when he gets nervous, he just cannon rushes. Like it used to be so that when he was on the edge of losing the whole series or match, then he would just instantly go for a cannon rush. And I hope he got over it, and because he clearly can put up results like this.
Well, I love it, and I think I speak for all of us, and we'd love to see a little more of this. It's just cool to see players make it all the way to the grand finals and get these big W's where we don't think they're going to get it. So this was it for the little coverage of the weeklies. This was number 99. This obviously means that upcoming Monday first actually the Korean one is always first. I'm not even exactly sure about the starting time, but it will be the 100th edition of the Korean one, the European one, and the American one. Koka, gaming is always wild. Are you guys planning something special for us?
For weeklies, you mean?
Yeah, number 100. Come on, it's a milestone.
No, there's
I know
nothing special, to be honest. Like we didn't even know that was the 100 coming. Like I'm not part of the crew casting these cups in general. The two guys casting the GSL Open Cups are Funka and TKL. Like it's always them. That's their competition. But often like when I cast it, I'm like, which one is it? Funka is like 92, 93, maybe 94. I don't know. So in general, we don't even know which one it is. So we didn't plan anything special, I guess.
Indy,
for this one.
But
well, I'll send them a message that Rotterdam is waiting for something, right?
Come on, you guys are the kings of dressing up and making songs and putting something on your face. I expect a little something, Coke. I'll figure it out. Indy, I know you cover them every single Monday as well. You doing something special for number 100?
Maybe a little bit of bounty, like you are planning to do, but I wonder if you have any idea for what kind of bounty, like for what example? Maybe I don't know what could it be, or just for the winner, or like the best games of the like who made the best game in the final, maybe.
I think anything could be fun. I'll let you guys know real quick that I already made a tweet saying that I'll give out 3 €100 bonuses for the best series of the day, the best game of the day, and just the best performance overall. So that could go to the champ, but it could also go to a Hellraiser if you would make another deep run. Probably get a little champagne as well. Come on, guys. It's number 100. We've had so much fun with weeklies. We got to do something a little special. Anyway, since we've been gone for a while, I want to go over a couple of the major tournaments that have happened in the last 3 to 4 weeks. We won't spend too much time on it, don't worry. But let's first bring up the StayAtHome Story Cup number 4, which in a weird way, guys, actually had like the biggest viewership, if I'm not wrong, over all the tournaments that have taken place in the last month. And the main reason why I find that somewhat surprising is because it had the smallest prize pool of all the 4 big tourneys that just happened. Why do you think that is, Alex? Because it was only a $5,000 tournament in total.
Well, actually, I feel that the guys from Take TV, they have been organizing a lot of stay-at-home story cups for all these years, and it's already a brand. Like whenever you see Home Story, StayAtHome Story Cup, you know that the best StarCraft players from all over the world are competing, that cool casters are walking there. So you are already trying to invest some time into watching it. So I believe it's already a set up brand, and it helps a lot whenever you are a viewer and you're thinking, what I'm going to watch right now. You're probably preferring the brand you already recognize. And again, this is a very cool, recognizable brand. The guys that take TV are doing their job on awesome level. So I feel that helps a lot.
Yeah, good point. Koka, I know it's been a little while, but you normally always cover that as well, right? Video Gaming Boys. In the past, you even traveled to Krefeld, I believe. Did you enjoy the StayAtHome Story Cup number 4?
Yeah, StayAtHome Story Cup are pretty fun. Like every time, I'm really surprised by the number of games and the number of good players that we have in the competition for. Indeed, like 5K, and like Clem won it, and Clem won like only $1,200, which is nothing, to be honest, for the number of matches he played. But yeah, like every time I'm like super hyped by the StayAtHome Story Cup, and then I see day 1. 8 groups. I'm like, what the fuck? These guys are crazy. Every time the same thing. Like, you can do one day more, like one additional day if you want, but no, every time it's like super stacks, like a lot of matches. It's really hard to cast it, but at the end of the day, when you arrive in the bracket, you have a lot of good matches. And yeah, I think this one was pretty good because we had a cool top 4, and you finish with a Clem Serral that was pretty good, to be honest. So yeah, I feel like this one was really good, but maybe I'm biased because the French guy won it at the end.
I do remember the quality of the games was very good. We obviously don't have to go into details, but Clem and Serral, they were pushing each other to the limit. Demi, I've got one question for you. I know you've never been to a Home Story Cup, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. So what they do for at least the StayAtHome Story Cups is where basically the first group is live, but then all the other players, they play their games at the same time. And then just throughout the day, we join lobbies of the replays. Does this take anything away from your experience as a viewer, or do you not care? And are you happy to see that the players don't have to wait 7 or 8 hours for their games to start?
I mean, I'm just happy that the players don't have to wait 7-8 hours, because if you make the players wait, for example, then the quality of the games goes down. So I think having players play at their own convenience and not having to wait for your match can be a big positive, honestly. So as a viewer, I don't really care about that. Even if it's from replays, like I would much rather watch a higher quality game than have players wait for so many hours just to play, and then the games are like, kind of crappy.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair. As a good StarCraft 2 player yourself, has it been like a life goal for you to ever make it to a StayAtHome Story Cup, or an actual Home Story Cup, I mean? Or do you just look at it and be like, that's going to be hard because I'm so far away from India and I'm good, but I'm probably not going to win the tournament?
It would be cool. I think one of my biggest life goals, honestly, if I had to take StarCraft 2, was to compete at Katowice. But that's been a bit of a tricky thing for me, because especially with COVID, I actually had plans for competing at one of the open brackets, but then COVID hit, so wasn't able to do that. So hopefully maybe next year I'm able to attend an open bracket or a live event, because that'd be pretty cool, honestly. It's been a long time since I've been at a live event and meeting up with all the boys, so I would kind of like that again.
All right. Well, obviously, a big shout out to the boys over at Take TV for giving us some awesome entertainment. Even though we didn't have a shortage of StarCraft tournaments lately, we are supposed to have our actual Home Story Cup 21, in the 3rd week of January. At first, I was ultra confident that this was going to happen. I have to admit, guys, I am getting a little bit nervous with the new Omnicrom, I believe. Koka, how high are your hopes that we will have an offline StarCraft 2 event at the end of January in Germany?
To be honest, I have no clue. In addition, like we have planned to organize offline underdogs in Paris, also happening the 22th of January. So no clue if it's gonna happen. We'll see. The only thing we can do is wait for it and then like hope it happens. Like Home Story Cup, I was super happy when they said it was gonna be offline. Same, like if you can't have guys like the Korean players, you can't have all the guys from the NA region, and like it's not a good call to do a cheap Home Story Cup just to have it. The StayAtHome Story Cup is is working. It's pretty efficient in terms of viewership and everything. So maybe stick to it one more time and then you go for the big one. But I think like the comeback to the offline Home Story Cup should be like a bit huge and not like a bit shaky because you can't have this guy and this guy they said no like 2 days before and all of a sudden the event looks like cheap, you know.
Yeah. Alex, do you think it's doable to get like Korean players over at the end of January to Germany, or do you think it's highly unlikely?
Well, of course, it depends. It depends on a lot of different factors, not on us, not on something around StarCraft. But what I want to say is more and more esports events tend to be focused around the hybrid format, where you have like part of the crew and part of the players offline, and others who are not able to make it are joining online. Even some world championships in some kind of PC and mobile titles were held in this way. So I'm afraid that StarCraft will probably, like at some point, will have to consider this format, at least to consider. Because, I mean, if we have the same epidemiological situation like for the couple of months more, I'm not sure if we all are able to make a proper offline competition.
Yeah, I can't imagine though that in Katowice they would ever agree to this. Like, I don't think there would ever be like some people will be there and the other people will be online. Like, I think it's either everyone is from home or everyone is offline. And I think like Katowice, the prize pool is big enough that even if you, let's say, travel to Europe and you come back to Korea, that maybe you have to stay 1 week at home. I think the top players can absolutely justify that. I think in China it's 3 weeks in a hotel, and that actually becomes a little bit harder. So we might miss out on time. That would obviously be very sad. But I can't imagine that they would ever settle for a 50-50 hybrid version for Katowice. But I don't know. What do you think, Indy? How is it in Poland? Is Poland all right, or are they very strict at the moment?
It's a little bit funny because they are thinking about more restrictions now.
Yeah.
But I know that the people won't listen, so they maybe won't do more of them. So it's a little bit of coin flip, but I would be more on a Koka side there. So maybe with Home Story Cup, we have one more online edition. And then we see what Katowice does, and maybe it will open all other events to that, and we will see that okay, it's possible. They came, they played, and it's good. It's possible to organize. I probably would go that route if I were to organize things, but as of now, I think it's possible to travel if you have that European passport.
Yeah. I do want to let everyone know that I already booked trips to Home Story Cup. If you're concerned right now, what I do think is going to happen is that there will be a StarCraft event that weekend, regardless. It's just there is indeed a chance that they'll change Home Story Cup 21 into StayAtHome Story Cup 5. But then everyone would still be welcome. The doors would be opened. Hopefully the SC2 community can still get together and just have 3 or 4 amazing days. But there is a chance that there will be a name change, and there is a chance that not all the players make it, but I think a lot of the European players will. So if you already booked your hotel in Krefeld or your travel, I wouldn't be ultra concerned yet. We're just sharing ideas here, and we're just looking a little bit ahead of the situation. But 2 months is a long time. A lot of things can change. Let's move on and cover the Dreamhack Masters Winter Season Finals real quick. The final of the 3 season finals happened roughly 2 weeks ago, where in the past we saw a lot of Europeans dominate these season finals. This time it was the complete opposite. I do know, by the way, and I don't mind sharing this, that the plan for this event absolutely was to have the players in the studio in Sweden. But it was still just not possible, especially because it's a bit tricky. Players coming from all regions, Taiwan, Oceania, China as well, and then all the Koreans. Dreamhack did really try. It was absolutely the goal for the players to be in the studio. Wasn't meant to be. However, we still had a pretty fun event. It was a lot better than the Dreamhack Masters finals of fall, which I generally thought was one of the most boring tournaments I've ever casted in my entire life. Even though it's nice to see Serral win, but that was not good. Winter finals, they were pretty good. Cobra, go ahead and bring it up, and we can talk about some of the amazing performances we saw. Koka, I'll start off with you. Did you enjoy the group stage, mate?
Yeah, the group stage was pretty good. To be honest, I didn't see much of the bracket at the end, but I remember casting Clem and seeing a clean Terran versus Protoss, right? He came like 2-0 against the Cyan and then 2-0 against Nib. Like the clutch was from Nib, right? We are waiting for a Zest versus Clem in winner match, but didn't happen because Nib came like super solid and then lost in the decisive match, which was definitely like the typical upset from GSL groups. And Scarlet was also the big clutch of the whole thing. In fact, I think if we have to speak about this tournament. Scarlet is the main subject, right? Because I didn't follow much like her journey recently, but I feel like she was more playing Brood War, right, in 2020, and then suddenly she came on StarCraft and said, "Hey, by the way, I can finish first of my group with Trap Cure and then beat like Zest in bracket." That was super surprising, right?
Yeah, no, Scarlet was definitely the standout performance, other than that Korean boy who's been just dominating literally everything that he's currently playing in. I honestly think all 5 of us would agree right now that Maru is the best player in the world. Koka, yes?
Yeah, probably.
Indy?
Yeah, I would agree on that.
Demi?
Yeah, given his recent form, like he seems to be the sort of person that kind of adapts to playing cross server, and a player like that can be really scary. So yeah, I agree.
Alex, full agreement?
I don't have any doubts, of course. Like Maru has recently beaten Rogue, has recently beaten Serral, has recently beaten almost any Protoss in the world. Like, of course, he's the number one, the absolute number one.
I mean, I gotta say, guys, I was really hyped for that semifinals because I hope that, Clem made some progress in the TVT. This was obviously before he had 2 more losses against Gabe. And I was like, I really hope that Clem can at least push Maru to the limit. But, oh my goodness, like Maru is just like, yeah, you're good, mate. But in TVT, let there be no doubt that I am the absolute god of TVT. I mean, Demi, the Zergs did all right? Like, obviously, Dark made Maru sweat a little bit in the quarterfinals, but it feels like the man is untouchable in TVZ as well.
Yeah, he's super scary to play. Like if I were to play against a current Maru, I'd be really terrified, because I feel like he understands that what he can and what he cannot do, and I feel like he's just got the cusp of how to play against foreign Zergs in crossover tournaments, because he's the sort of player that if you compare him to Clem, he doesn't mind playing that really late game. Whereas Clem, if you take for example, his style is all about momentum and getting in your face, and I don't think his style of play works on cross server. So Maru is honestly extremely terrifying right now.
I think he's on a whole nother level. I know that once upon a time the man won 4 GSLs in a row, but it feels at this point he has just found another peak in his career. So damn good at literally every aspect of the game. I cannot praise him enough. Scarlet, obviously, her run was amazing, and she was so close to beating Rogue. I mean, how nuts is Rogue to go for that super crazy all-in in Game 4 while he's down 1-2 in the semifinals? I don't know if you remember this, Indy. I feel like you do watch everything, but that crazy link flood on Berlingrad. It would have been awesome to see Scarlet make the grand finals, but I'll be honest, I also don't think it would have been very close against Maru.
Yeah, I think overall the quality of the games wasn't bad. It was actually really good. Like if I were to recommend some, it was the group stage Serral Maru, and then in the playoffs Clem Trap, Scarlet Zest. Rogue Serral was also entertaining, and the run of Scarlet obviously, and the finals. I think those were like the very good matches that are like you can watch those. But yeah, Scarlet's run was amazing, and I recall Rogue saying in the interview that I think it was quarterfinal. After quarterfinal, he said that he's gonna meet Maru in the final. So maybe I don't know. He's like, in my opinion, like the overall history, he's the best player ever. So he has that winning mentality. I don't know how he does it, but he was pretty much he beaten against Scarlet, and then he won in the end. So yeah, amazing decision, as you said in the game 4, to go so aggressive. Maybe he saw something. Maybe he just went like.
I think he's just a maniac, man. I think he's just a maniac who's right very often.
You can see it in his face. He's like so emotionless.
I believe he after that semi-final, Rogue also said that he's like, I wasn't that close. It should have been a 5-0, honestly. And I was like, what are you talking about? Like, you could have lost. You should have lost 3-1. Like, oh well. But yeah, I agree with you. Overall, the quality of the games in this tournament, it was entertaining, guys. It was good. Maru just performing on a whole nother level. I forgot to mention his last event, but obviously if you want to watch these games back, ESL_SC2 is the channel on Twitch where this is always being broadcasted in English, and they should also upload it to YouTube. For Home Story Cup, obviously it's always twitch.tv/TakeTV, and then you can just go to previous broadcasts and it will all be listed there. So that's where you guys can find everything. It was a good one. I definitely enjoyed it a lot more than Fall, even though I liked watching Serral win, but Fall season finals were bad. It was actually proper bad. I did not enjoy that tournament. This one was a whole lot better. Maru is absolutely entering Katowice, or at least the build-up to Katowice, as I think the overwhelming favorite. And that means we have one more big tournament to cover, because that also happened in the last 2 to 3 weeks. And that was the King of Battles 2. Alex, when I gave you the list, you're like, you forgot King of Battles. And I'm like, I know I did. That's a mistake, because I did want to bring it up. Talk to me about King of Battles, amigo.
Well, for me, King of Battles, like the first season was a very memorable tournament because it happened exactly when we were already tired of waiting for this Maru Serral thing to finally happen. We were like, okay, it didn't happen in 2018, didn't happen in 2019. Please, somebody put those Maru and Serral face to face and make them play. And the first iteration of King of Battles did it, and we had a very memorable best of 3 in a group stage, which Maru lost, but in the end he won the whole competition. And here, Maru and Serral met each other in the finals, and I feel it was a gift we maybe didn't even deserve for, but we were waiting for it for such a long time, and it finally happened. An absolutely amazing best of 7 between those players in the finals. Literally 2 Game of the Year candidates on Blackburn and Hardwire. I mean, for me, it was one of the best series of the year and maybe of the last few years in StarCraft 2. And this tournament is already extremely memorable just because of the finals. But other than that, we had a lot of very cool series games in a group stage. Of course, we had Elaser making some upsets in the group stage. We had Hero Marine knocking down 2 Koreans. Again, a lot of very memorable, cool series. So for me, King of Battles was a very good tournament.
I watch quite a bit of it. Not everything of the group stage, I have to admit. Obviously, do always watch the results, but playoffs I started watching a bit more, and I can only echo the sentiments of the final. It was great. Koka, it's got to be lovely for you to see Clem just dominating a group like this. Unfortunately, he wasn't able to continue his run in the playoffs.
Yeah, once again, Hero Marine saying you can't go further in the tournament, Clem, because I'm here. But yeah, defeating Solar in Dark was pretty cool. Like Clem, once again, super strong in TVZ, and I love this tournament also because I'm part of the crew, like hating a bit Protoss. So when I see a bracket like this with a lot of red and blue nicknames, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna have some TVZ and TVT, and I'm pretty happy about that, right? So yeah, it finished on the Serral Maru. That was really cool. And like you said before, like Maru is probably at the peak of his career because we can all say what he's going to do in the match, right? He's going to play a bit aggressive, but not like a Clem. He's going to go to the late game and then he's going to dominate with Ghost and things. And Serral, he also knows that, but he has no weapons against it. So yeah, that was a cool final, definitely. Like super clean final.
Yeah, Cobra, could you please scroll down a little bit so we can talk about the playoffs? Demi, a lot of, I guess, purple in the playoff bracket. A lot of Zergis. Did you watch all of it and did you enjoy it?
Yep, I think the only match which was kind of a little bit meh was Serral Hero Marine because I was looking at the bottom part of the bracket and I was getting excited about the potential of maybe Serral Hero Marine, but I feel like Clem maybe still needs to fix his TVT, but I think the Maru Serral was a complete banger. Even if Serral didn't manage to win, like that was amazing to watch. I think the first game, after watching the first game on Curious Minds, I was like, the way Serral was playing against Maru was like, yeah, Serral's got this, but then Maru really showed up, and yeah, this entire tournament was pretty amazing to watch, honestly.
Mm-hmm. I did hear from Reynor after his quarterfinals. Now, these quarterfinals were played right when he just moved to London, and I believe he was playing these games on a laptop. He did have an actual screen, but the screen was connected to a laptop, and he didn't have his proper setup yet. He didn't have a functioning desk, and he said, he's like, once everything is sorted out, Rotti, I'll go get him. I mean, I'd love to see it, but do you guys believe, Indy, do you believe that Reynor can start taking down Maru?
I remember that one lobby, and it was, I believe it was right before Reynor Maru game, and he said, my desk arrived 20 minutes ago. And what do you do now, right? Do you put it up or not? But I think Reynor can do it. He's he's like, of course, he's a world champion. He can win anything now, but it takes like a good, at least a very good day, and then you need to solve Maru's late game, and that's a real trouble in my opinion, because he can even beat Serral with that. Actually, one time in the tournament before, Serral could beat Maru's camping, but then he lost to it. So no Zerk so far could beat Maru in a long game when Maru was playing at his peak late game. So I believe Ricardo can do it, but he needs to like do a lot of stuff. He needs to be very quick, which is Reynor's strongest side in my opinion, and yeah, he needs very good setup for that. He just needs to use his speed, and I believe he can do it.
Yeah, obviously Serral did take down Maru in the group stage of the Dreamhack season finals that we just covered, but group stage and playoffs not exactly the same. Demi, if you would be the coach of Team Zerk and you have peak performance Reynor, peak performance Serral, peak performance Dark, peak performance Rogue, but you can only send out one to take down Maru in the grand finals of Katowice 2022, who do you send out?
Possibly. That's a very hard question. I mean, for me, I'll always say Serral.
Okay.
I just think from watching Serral, like, there are certain things Serral does that's a lot better than Reynor, and I feel like Serral just plays a much stronger late game than Reynor, which is what Maru sort of forces almost every other game. And I feel like late game can be very clutch. Like, you make one small mistake where all your spellcasters get EMP'd, like that turns the tide of a fight pretty easily. So I just go for Serral, Team Serral, because I think he just handles late game a lot better than any other Zerg right now.
Alex, who do you think? If all four of those Zergs are at their fullest of their abilities, who would you send out?
You know, I feel that Reynor has the most potential, because when we are speaking about the late game, like, of course, Serral is an absolute beast in the late game, but I feel that even his level is not enough to beat Maru. So we need to look from another direction. We need to look at the competition of speed. And here Reynor comes, because I feel he's the fastest of those when he's in his peak form, in his peak condition, and therefore he's the one to contest Maru in Maru's strongest areas, especially in an offline event, but in the areas where at least it is possible to compete with him, unlike the late game stuff. So I would pick Reynor, and I hope that Reynor will be in his peak shape soon, and will have even something more epic than these Maru Serral finals in King of Battles.
Yeah, especially if it happens offline, right? Like, that just be so damn dope. That's the way it should be. Indy, who would you pick real quick between the four?
Oh, I'm a big fan of Serral, but as I said, the speed factor is, I believe, the most important when breaking through late game of Terran. So yeah, Reynor probably.
Koka, any of the Koreans or?
No, I would be in Demi's team on this one. I feel like Serral maybe doesn't have the solution on that one, but he's a guy finding solution in general. So
yeah.
In some time, and I need to play 10 games against Maru. Incidentally, I'm not gonna lose a late game against Terran anymore, and he played like 8, so let him some time again, and it should be good.
Oh, come on. Oh my god, guys. I am biased, okay? But listening to all of this, I'm pretty sure the Love Korean StarCraft 2 fans are ripping their hairs out right now. You look at Dark, who's an absolute beast. The man has won it all. If he peaks, he could do it. And let's not forget that Rogue is the only 2-time Katowice champion ever. It's kind of funny to hear you guys just say Reynor and Serral. I don't know, actually. I don't know, but I am really eager to find out, because at this point, Maru is the undisputed best player in the world. And he's just looking amazing. It's honestly just a joy to watch him play at the moment. The upcoming months are going to be very fun. Now, we do have one more very big tournament that's currently happening. Started last weekend. I did not watch anything of it, or almost not anything, because I was busy hosting the Warcraft 3 World Championships. But it started Friday, and I believe it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday. It's not happening over at twitch.tv/TeamLiquid, but it's happening over at twitch.tv/TLNet. So TLNet, go ahead and follow that channel over at Twitch, and then you'll get a notification when they go live. Who wants to talk first about the opening rounds of TSL 8, guys?
Well, since I was observer, I saw a game or two.
Go ahead, Indy. Kick us off.
Yeah, so the first game, Trap Gumiho, I don't remember too much, but the second one, Zaun Max Packs, it was like a stomp of Zaun. Zaun was naive enough to try 2 times against Max Packs Fast Expand, and 2 times it was like 5-6 minutes, 2 times. So it was like 13-14 minutes at best, and it was over with the break, of course. And Max Packs shows again that his PvP is... You have to fear that guy, especially because you have to adapt to him. And Koreans seem to not understand it yet. And yeah, that was a little bit of funny series, but one-sided, and you just see a Korean banging against the wall. And then I believe, another surprising game was, actually it was game day 2, and the first game, Climb Hero. I would recommend to watch it, because it was like pure hero in his element, yeah. It was a fun match, so that definitely recommended duel. And my boy Piotr Spirit, known as Soul, showed amazing performance against Cure, and I loved that too. I think if some games were a little bit one-sided or maybe quick, but yeah, sometimes those early runs in best of threes can be a little bit disappointing maybe, but there were some gems between matches. Oh yeah, and Scarlet Bian, yeah, I remember that one too.
Obviously, we are all very happy to have TSL back. It's a massive tournament, $30,000. That's 6 times bigger than the StayAtHome Story Cup was, for example. So all the love to TeamLiquid and Shopify. Alex, before I let you talk about the games, what the hell is this Vanya into Ratata name change? Like, I know we have to respect everyone's wishes, but I'm going to be honest, I don't like it. I like Vanya. I don't really like Ratata all that much. How do you feel about it?
Okay, so the story is, I was scrolling my Twitter, and then I saw some random guy posting like, so here is the story behind, and I saw the name Ratata, and I was like, okay, whatever. Then few days after, I noticed Ratata nickname in one of the CS tournaments, and I was like, stop, what's really happening? And only then I logged in back to my Twitter, and I clicked on the profile of this Ratata guy, and I discovered that it was actually Vanya changing the nickname. So I'm not even going to commentate the reasons behind it, because they are kind of stupid. Yeah, but like the very important thing is it's not Ratata, it's Ratata. So yeah, this is the proper pronunciation of his nickname. And yeah, I feel that this change didn't really help him in TSL, unfortunately. I feel that the tournament is already like not very satisfying for both Russian and French community, because our only representatives are already out. And speaking about Vanya, it's maybe understandable, especially considering the fact that he had to play Serral in the first round. But speaking about Clem, I'm actually shocked that he's already out from the TSL.
I'm with you, and I think Koka is with you as well. Koka, Sacre Bleu, what the hell?
What the fuck? Yeah, I've been casting Clem against Dream also, so I was, losing to Hero was pretty disappointing, but losing to Dream after that is pretty okay, And that's a double elimination bracket, best of 3. So it's pretty cool as caster and as viewer, I would say, because you are not overwhelmed by huge matches, when you have like a big bracket like this with best of 5s. I feel like you can't really appreciate the games because they're too much. So best of 3 is cool, but also you have kind of a no story for the guys like leaving the first round, like Clem talk to 1-0, 1-2, and then 0-2, and you're out, and that's it. That's the storyline of first round losers of TSL. But yeah, I feel like it's okay to lose against Dream and on cross server also. I feel like Clem is not improving in this part of the actual competition compared to others. Like I feel like all the other players are getting more and more like comfortable playing cross server, and Clem is kind of I don't know how you say that in English, like not improving, right, on this part of the game.
Yeah, I guess he just enjoys it a whole lot less, and it obviously doesn't suit his style. I do have one more question, though. Like, we often talk about how strong the French scene is overall, and we love the support that O-Gaming has for all the players out there. Underdogs always creating some new up-and-coming talents. It's pretty insane to see a 32-man proper Premier League online tournament in the year 2021. And we only had one Frenchie. And now the one Frenchie is already eliminated. That can obviously happen. We know Clem is great. But that has to be a bit disappointing for all of you guys, no? Because I feel that the French scene is normally always that strong and we praise it.
Yeah, it's weird because this year we have done like some really good competition, like with a lot of French guys, and in the same time I feel like the French scene is maybe falling apart a bit because Lilbo went back to work, Denver went back to work, Reynor is going to Age of Empires, Clem is playing, Drogo, he's not qualified, so he's not playing anymore. It's a bit, it's I don't know how to describe it exactly, but all these guys, they all play when they have something to win, and when they're not, they don't play anymore. So, so yeah, definitely having only one French guy in this competition is pretty surprising. And at the same time, when you take like each player one by one, it makes sense. So yeah.
Yeah, it is a very stacked tournament, of course. But yeah,
Also,
I don't know. Random thoughts. Demi, were you able to catch a little bit of TSL? Because I know you're a diehard and you watch most of it. Have you been enjoying it so far? Any matches that you're looking forward to, perhaps, looking at the round of 16?
I guess Ragnarok Reynor. I'm really curious to see how that's going to go out. I assume Reynor's favored. Like, if Reynor's playing on an actual setup, I'd favor him. I think the match before that versus Zest, I was getting a little bit excited about potentially seeing Reynor versus Zest, considering that any of the ESL Cups that I sign up for, I always play Zest in the round of 16. And I'm always curious to see what would Reynor do a little differently that might help me out. But because that was the Ragnarok Zest series was kind of like almost very surprising. Like, I would almost favor Zest over Ragnarok given Ragnarok's ZVP, but that really was a bit of a surprising one for me. So some really cool games, but yeah, I think Dark Creator was probably the most hype ZVP that I've watched. So yeah.
Alrighty, I can get behind it. Well, TSL 8 will continue on this Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Once more, twitch.tv/TLNet. Indy, anything else you want to add before we move on?
I just recalled this Dark Creator match, and it was almost Creator won against Dark. The first game, he stumped him with this beautiful 6-gate Adept push, very quick one. And yeah, there were some games that like not whole matches, but some maps were very good. So I would recommend maybe if you're looking for some Protoss builds, the Creator game map 1 and map 2, he did well against Dark, I would say. But unfortunately, he's out of the tournament. It feels, it sucks because for so many years you see Creator and you want him to actually do a good result, and every time almost I feel like you see him in this GSL booth or someone else and he just falls and falls, and yeah, it feels bad, man, to see Creator not having success.
He's actually a TSL 4 winner back in 2012.
Wow.
So yeah.
Yeah, and he had this. It was second place in the World Championship, I believe.
Yeah.
I think he lost to Parting. Yeah.
So exactly.
How much is it? Like 9 years, and he's still trying but not succeeding. So yeah, I really wanna do him see him do well finally.
His 4-gate is the reason why Rain never won a World Championship.
Oh,
I still have nightmares over those missed force fields. I was like, come on, Rain, you're so good and you can force field on Cloud Kingdom. What the hell? Anyways, I have one final question. I was a little bit surprised to see Gabe just getting the 2-0 over Australia. And that's mostly just because I casted Australia against Gabe maybe 2 weeks ago. I don't often stay online for the American Weekly, but Gabe won and he's like Europe. So he's like, all right, I'm staying online for the American one too. He played against Zest in the quarterfinals. He's like, oh yeah, if I do make it past Zest, it should be a relatively easy victory. And he actually just kind of bobbed Zest in the quarters. He's like, oh, that's good. Australia played out of his mind in the semifinals against Gabe. Sure, it was late in Germany and wasn't that late in America, but I mean, Gabe just beat Zest, so he clearly was playing all right. Australia played amazing. Was the best of 3 all right this time around, Indy, or was Gabe just too good? Did he do his homework? What happened?
Oh, yeah, Austria Hero Marine was... first map I remember very one-sided because lots of Widow mines hit. I think I remember that, yeah. So it was rather one-sided. Yeah, but Big Gabe is in a very good shape, so it was rather expected from my side, but you never know, of course, with Austria.
Yeah, but that's because you didn't see those games I saw. Serral was so good, man. He 3-0'd Gabe, and I wasn't like on the bandwagon immediately. But yeah, it turns out that Gabe, after he lost against Vanya or Ratata 2 weeks ago on the Monday night, he needed a break, and he did take a break, okay? He went offline at 7 p.m. and he started streaming 1 p.m. the following day, and it really seemed like that break has just done him well, and he's in great spirits, and we all love to see it. All right, that actually does it for all the tournaments besides one more big one that's going on. And I did not prepare Cobra for this, but I just want to show it up real quick. If you can, Cobra, show us the bracket of the GSL Super Tournament, because that's also currently going on. And I believe that it's not Tasteless, but it's Tasteless and State who's actually casting. It's really cool to see State again after all these years. Of course, great American Protest player, and I believe he's been doing a phenomenal job so far. Commentary. Demi, you following the Super Tournament? Is Maru just going to win another tournament? Because I looked at that bracket, and I honestly thought, okay, well, see you at least in the semis, Maru, but probably in the final.
Given Maru's recent form, I definitely favor him. Do you have the link to the bracket anywhere?
Yeah, sorry, mate. I did not prepare anyone for this. If you just type in GSL Super Tournament in Google, Liquipedia, it will show up immediately. But we are in the semifinals right now. Top side semifinal is Cure against Rogue. Bottom is Solar against Maru. Like I saw Maru had Classic in the opening round, and then either Hero or Zest in the quarterfinals. I'm like, Maru's not going to drop a map, and he didn't drop a map so far. Like, he could just clean sweep this tournament, guys. Maybe in the finals he loses a map or two, but I honestly, who's stopping him? Is Solar going to stop Maru? I don't see it happening, Alex. Do you?
I think Rogue has more chances if he reaches the finals. But actually, like, even though the score between Maru and Hero was 3-0, there were really cool games inside this match, and Hero played not in the most standard way. Maru was maybe lacking like some kind of clearness in execution in certain points. So, this 3-0 differed a lot for me from the 3-0 he had against Classic, for example. I see that Maru is maybe not invulnerable, so who knows, maybe Rogue prepares something interesting for the finals if he beats Cure in the semis. But if it's TVT, Cure against Maru, I don't know, I feel Maru is still a favorite.
Koka, is anyone stopping Maru in your eyes?
Stopping, maybe not, but challenging. I feel like Cure has his chance, like even maybe more than Rogue. I don't know. The TV. I feel like Maru in TVZ is just like controlling too much the matchup and the games. But in TVT, you can't really always do that because sometimes you just have one tank and their opponent has 12 and you die. That's it, right? So Cure can beat Rogue definitely and maybe challenge Maru behind. But I would say Maru is definitely the top tier 1 player in this tournament and should probably win it and could win it without looting a map actually. So yeah,
that'd be so sick if he just wins another one even after everything he's doing.
The cool way. Also.
Demi, I'm sure that you saw Rogue Dark, right? I haven't seen a whole lot of this tournament yet, but I did see that first game on Blackburn because everyone was raving about it. Gold expand for Dark, counter gold by Rogue on the other side, building spine crawlers. I'm sure that sparked a lot of joy for you as a Zerg player who likes to be aggressive. I'll put it like that.
Usually, if I see that my opponent has a gold base, I just like to defend. I don't like those sort of chaotic games. I like games in ZVZ that go as per planned, but chaotic games aren't usually my style. So that was kind of fun to watch. So thankfully, no one's been taking the goal on Blackburn against me because that would not be very fun to be like, oh shit, he's got the goal base. I have to do something, or he's gonna outmine me and lose. But what really happens is, in a lot of my games at least, is that they take the goal base and they try to be super aggressive. And as long as I defend, I'm in an okay spot. But yeah, that was a pretty cool game to watch, honestly, for me.
Well, this tournament continues in 15 hours. So on the 2nd of December, at least if you are in Europe early in the morning, we're going to have Cure vs Rogue. Right after that, we're going to have Solar Maru. And the finals will be actually tomorrow as well. So it wraps up tomorrow. All right, 2 best of 5s and a best of 7. Oh my goodness, will Artosis be able to survive? That's a long day for that. Now I know why Tasteless is in America. Tasteless is like, I've got to do more than 1 best of 7. I'm out of here. I'm kidding, guys. But yeah, it should be cool. Obviously, if you want to watch it, head over to YouTube. Just type in the GSL in YouTube or type in Africa TV and you'll find the games there. It's going to be fun. Should be a couple of great games. I think Maru wins, but I'm excited for it. All right. that is officially it for all the big tournaments that have happened. So now we can talk about some other things. And I'm just going to kind of throw something up, guys, and we're going to get the ball rolling, and then I'll let whoever wants to speak. I'm always a very positive individual when it comes to StarCraft, even though Blizzard has obviously been absolutely sucking horribly over the last year and a half, 2 years maybe at this point. But it's okay, because I always feel like we have a great community. We've got great tournament organizers. I still love the game itself. I think the meta, maybe PvZ, kind of meh. Obviously, every other matchup, I actually think it's fun to watch, fun to play right now. But it's starting to get a little insane at this point, when we can't even get rid of a Russian guy who's apparently lag hacking and making games last for 2 hours against Showtime and Serral, and we can't even ban a single individual on the ladder. This is where I'm starting to get concerned, and I guess I'll just start off with you, Alex. How do you feel overall about everything at this point?
Yeah, actually, speaking about these issues like the lag hacker and stuff like that, it has been a great problem for StarCraft in general for the last few years, because there were some cases where basically there was an obvious map hacker and nobody cared about that. But actually, I invented my own algorithm in how to deal with it. And basically, the algorithm was, I made a video on YouTube, and then I made a lot of people report the guy, and therefore, like the tech guys in Blizzard, seeing the amount of reports, they started to care, and they banned some of those accounts. But some time ago, this thing stopped working as well. So at this point, I don't even know if there is a person in Blizzard technical support or whatever you call this, which is capable of like literally clearing all those accounts and making sure that people can play properly. And this worries me the most. Not the stuff around Activision, Blizzard, all those things, all those investigations. I'm pretty sure they don't have any direct influence on StarCraft right here, right now. Not anything connected with Age of Empires or whatever else. The biggest issue for me is exactly the fact that game is literally becoming unplayable at certain points for certain people. This is like the worst thing. This is, of course, it is still better than like turning off the servers, but we're coming closer, because when you're logging into the game, especially if you're like a popular streamer or a pro gamer, and you're not really able to play, you're not able to make the content, this is really becoming closer to the point when StarCraft is in a really weird spot and in a really bad state. So what I feel we have to do is exactly what Serral did in his Twitter. Like, we need to spread the word. I'm doing everything I can from my side, and of course, if the English community is also able to do this, maybe something starts to move around those Blizzard things, and maybe some internal procedures, complex procedures will start to influence on our game in a positive way. But yeah, I would say that like basically I was worried for StarCraft for quite a long time, but up to this point I was quite confident that the game in general is in a good state. Right now, I'm worried indeed, because we are in a really weird spot.
Koka, Indy, go ahead.
Yeah, I was hearing a little bit of feedback from the players as well, and like for them, the playing ladder it seems like there's no reason to play ladder most of the time, because it seems inactive. Oh, of course, you can practice a little bit, but still there's this Russian guy, or maybe he's not Russian, but he has this nickname. You never know, right?
I'm pretty sure he is, unfortunately, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right, but yeah, even if when I turn on ladder, like every once in a while, then I either meet Hero Marine and then I get stomped, or he's doing some challenge, then maybe I have some chance when I max out carriers, but it doesn't seem like proper ladder experience, right? So yeah, it should be way different. Like last time I was meeting players like so not on my MMR pretty much, so it was very bad experience for them and for me. So I either get usually like very top pro gamer or something, or very master player, for example. So it's I don't know, maybe people stopped caring about playing that much, and they moved on to custom games, especially pros. And yeah, ladder doesn't seem very in a good state. Like, and you can actually see the difference. Like 1 or 2 years ago, it was like fine, but now it dropped down by a lot, in my opinion.
Yeah, I mean, we saw that as well, right? When Grandmaster opened, it was suddenly the MMR threshold was not a bit lower, but it was way lower than it's ever been, like 6 or 7 on that MMR. And I'm with Alex. Like, there's obviously always a lot of things. People have been telling me that StarCraft 2 is dying since 2013, and I've never cared because I've always had faith in the community. I love our gaming. I love Take TV. I love TeamLiquid. It's amazing Shopify supporting us in this day and age. And for all the wrong that Blizzard did, people do have to understand that Blizzard did give a lot of money to ESL to run the EPT. If they didn't do that, obviously none of that would have happened. So I've always been positive. I've always been confident. But there are two things, or one thing in general that does really scare me. That's if the ladder doesn't work anymore. Because if the ladder doesn't work, yeah, then obviously people will just no longer have fun playing StarCraft. And then we can run all the cool tournaments we want. But if people can't enjoy the game anymore, it becomes problematic. How do you see it, Koka?
To be honest, for my part, because you said I love all the matchups on StarCraft, but I know at OGaming we all hate PvZ. Like, we have a huge problem with this matchup. Like, we're not having a good time casting it, and not even playing it for people playing Protoss and Dirk. But that's one thing. It's not the most important thing, because balance and meta have always been there, right? So sometimes you have problem with a matchup, and you still play and everything. But nowadays the weird feeling is like, and that's what Alex said before, like, who is working at Blizzard on StarCraft 2? Like, is there one guy? No guy? Is it like a guy playing present like 1 day a week? I've no clue how it works, right? So I feel like at ESL people are trying to create things and to talk to Blizzard and to be kind of proactive about the problems, and then nobody's answering at the phone, right? Like, there's nobody behind the wall. So I've no clue how it works. And yeah, when you have a problem like this, like a guy telling you, "Hey, I'm master. I'm 2K MMR," and this little thing is like here for 6 months. I'm like, what the fuck, mate? This is like pretty basic. It worked during 10 years, and then suddenly it doesn't work during this, and nobody's, So it feels like we are a bit like what's the word in English? Also, like solo, like we are alone in the thing, and that's how we do it for gaming. That's how we are trying to proceed now. Like, so I talked about the upcoming underdogs offline, and so what we have started to do at the gaming is crowdfunding. We go back to the community, because Blizzard is not answering anymore. ESL has his own problems, right? In France, at least, brands are not interested in StarCraft at all. Like, it's impossible to get sponsored in France. So what do we have left is community. And if people believe in the game, then we can create things, right? So that's how we can get stuff. But still, yeah, the fact that people are not playing anymore, it's not creating new players, not future pro players. So the competitive scene is getting older, and then you're going to lose people, and you're going to have less money. And, it's starting to get pretty precise how it will die, maybe. But yeah, the fact that nobody is answering at Blizzard is definitely like the biggest problem for me.
I mean, I don't want to always use that word immediately, because I don't think that happens unless it literally is 100% unplayable. We obviously have another year of EPT ahead of us. We should get some cool news from ESL soon, because they're obviously trying to actually make some offline events happen again. I think crowdfunding will always be a thing, but I'm a little bit concerned about that, because we can't always, like, not every tournament organizer can always reach out to their community, right? Because it's, viewers should also just be able to enjoy the game without having to pay for making something happen. But I think, like, all of that is fine. We'll get through it. We still have a lot of awesome tournaments coming up, but it is truly sad, because I cannot answer your question. Who is working at Blizzard on StarCraft 2 right now? There were days that I probably had 10, 15, 20 Blizzard employees, an email away, a Discord message away, or if I would ever say something stupid, on my own stream, they're like, "Hey, can you not do that?" I'm like, "Okay, I'm sorry." Like, no one is listening. And it's so sad. I have no idea who to reach out to. I know that they were talking about a patch, and I don't think a patch is the most important thing, and I know that a lot of people disagree with that. I think it would help for sure, don't get me wrong, but I don't think it's the number one concern. But now it seems like even that has been postponed a little bit, and it does kind of feel it's like you want to do something, but what do we do? Like, do we start maybe running a custom ladder? Do we make our own map pool, even if that's not the map pool that's currently used on the ladder? Is that the map pool that we're going to use for tournaments? I mean, what do you think, Indy?
I'm a little bit on the negative side because I believe that pretty much like if we look at it objectively, then all the power is in the hands of the developer of the game. So no matter like what game, developer can make it an esports and make it all work. So it all comes down whether they care or not. And currently it's not looking that way. So yeah, I don't have like solution that would solve it. But as you said, and as I said before, then for 15 months, we can try to do a good job, probably try to host events, try to go do our job. But after that, if there's no more Blizzard tournaments, I'm almost sure that the pros will just stop playing. Therefore, the interest will drop because of the viewership. Viewership probably won't be there if there's no very, very good players. Because if it's not top level, then they are like, oh, is it bronze or gold playing? And it's like early GM, but it's not good enough usually for the people.
Of course, but let's not forget though, guys, that 15 months is a very long time, and a lot of things can change at a big company. Maybe in 15 months from now, Activision Blizzard realizes that everything they have been doing over the last few years, that's not the way, and they are completely ruining what was once upon a time, I'd say, the company with the best image in esports, right? Like a long time, Blizzard games were the way to go because they still supported Warcraft and Brood War after all those years, and it was always like, I feel like they set the bar here, and now they have literally pushed themselves outside of the screen. A lot of things can change in 15 months. There is a good chance that different people come in charge, and they will go for a different course. And I don't think we have to say right now, 50 months, that's it. That's the hard stop. But it is obviously important to address all the issues that we are currently facing. I mean, Demi, you mostly play on the Korean ladder, I believe, right? How are things over the Korean ladder? Is it empty? Are you alone, or do you have friends?
I think the only thing that I hope for every day is that when I ladder on Korea, I don't get the map hackers, because there's a bunch of map hackers and they're all Protosses. So they force late game on you, and the worst thing is they cut a lot of corners, and they actually have kind of decentish mechanics. So for me, it's like, okay, because I have them all blocked and they all ladder on barcodes, so you don't know. But the only thing that I found recently is you block the barcodes. And so the only barcodes that I have blocked in Korea are the map hackers. So every time I get a barcode Protoss, I pray, oh, I hope it's not this guy, because that would just ruin my day. Because it's not fun playing against a map hacker that just pretty much ruins the game and doesn't care.
Yeah, but this goes back to what we were all talking about, right? Especially that you mentioned as well, Alex. Like, a functioning ladder is important. Like, I'm not even asking for a patch every week of Blizzard or a community update. I understand the game is 11 years old, doesn't bring in a whole lot of money, but at least let the things work that have always worked. And please hire like 2 guys to get rid of the absolute dickheads on the ladder, that map hack, that laghead, that are, in whatever way completely misbehaving. It's like, I don't think we're asking for a lot, and this should be doable, or am I crazy?
Yeah, it should be more than doable. Like, Blizzard quality is the thing we have heard for ages. Right now, if you log into StarCraft 2, what kind of Blizzard quality will you see? Like, you will see those bronze players with Master League icon. You'll see those crazy map hackers ruining the whole gaming experience. The campaign is not working at all. There are some different bugs, like your document folder being blocked by StarCraft up. It's like a lot of different things happening. Like, literally, I can give you the list of like 10 or 15 different bugs in StarCraft 2 which are really worrying, which really like make your impressions about the game much worse than they should be. So like, we basically need the instrument which is working. And right after that, we can put some other things, make some kind of cool content, make people interested, stuff like that. If we don't have a proper instrument, then what can we do?
Yeah, but that's kind of the question, right? What can we do? Koka, do you believe that there is a chance that maybe we create some sort of a mod where we have our own ladder, where people have to verify their accounts and it works through custom games? Or do you see tournaments running with their own map pool, potentially their own patch? Because obviously we do all have those skills, or at least some people do have the skills to make their own balance patches. Do you think that's a direction we could be heading into for 2022?
That's what I said to my viewers at one time, because I'm a big fan also of Super Smash Bros. Melee, and basically that's exactly what happened. So I don't know how it would work with Blizzard, but the thing is, on Melee, Nintendo never followed esports and always played against to be sure that it never happens. And what happened in 2020 is that a dude like a solo dude just developed an online ladder on Melee. So today I'm still playing a lot, and you can find a guy in Europe with like 20 ping MS in like 10 seconds. Like that's how it is on Melee. So to be honest, the ladder on a GameCube game is way cleaner than StarCraft actually. So I don't know if a guy is able to do that on StarCraft. I have no clue if it can happen, if Blizzard is going to block it, if we can like try to model everything to be able to keep playing StarCraft. On my side, I will say, because if I look at the French community, most people are not playing the game anymore. Like it's uninstalled. Like they don't play it, and they watch. So if we have cash prize, we're gonna have players fighting for cash prize, and then if we have good players, we're gonna have viewers, and we can stay at the state we have today. But I feel like Indy says 15 months and then we're done. I feel like in 15 months, it's not maybe done. It's maybe like let's imagine we have half the whole cash price of a year. It means you lose half of the people playing StarCraft professionally, right? Like Ratata is not going to be able to play if he's going to earn like $200 a year because he's going to make top 16. That's how I see it, right? So if we have cash prize, we can keep a competitive scene. If we don't have it, like people are gonna try to earn money another way. And,
but the game is not only like, obviously it's important for us to have an esports, enjoy, see the best in the world go at it. But the game is not only about the guys that make money. Like, let's not forget that once upon a time we all played video games because we wanted to play video games, because we just were young kids who enjoyed the game. And even though StarCraft throughout all its flaws and 11 years, it's obviously somewhat of an old game now. In my eyes, it's still the most fucking fun video game out there to play. So I don't really care if I can win money by playing StarCraft or not. I will still enjoy it. But I do think it's important for people to have the option to enjoy it. And if they don't provide us with a functioning product, how can we ever enjoy playing StarCraft?
I feel like it's maybe harder to get this done than just a big check from Blizzard paying ESL to run the circuits, I feel like it's easier to get $1 million to have a competitive scene than having two dudes like fixing the game. I don't know why.
How does it? In which universe does this make sense? Though, like someone I forgot who said it, but like I think you said it, Koka. Like they would maybe block it. Let's say like we run a mod on the StarCraft 2 panel, they would have to block it. That would mean they have to pay attention. I cannot. When is the last time they acknowledged us? Like that they said like, oh okay, yeah, we see there is a bug, or yeah, we got a new map pool, okay, and we have 8 maps. And it has taken like literally 2-3 months now almost to remove Beckett from the map pool. Like this should be like, I don't know anything about coding, but how hard can this be, guys? Like,
it would take probably like 4 minutes when someone knows the code at the best from launching the computer, I guess. Yeah, but on more positive note, there are some rumors that there might be a patch, and players got asked about balance things and all that stuff, but it was some I don't know, a few months ago, so maybe it will move on. Time will show.
That is indeed somewhat positive, and I've heard that before, but I also don't want to give too much false hope, because as far as I know, there was a lot of feedback. Surprising, right? You asked pro gamers to give feedback, they gave a lot of feedback. And I believe that they were a little bit overwhelmed by the amount of wishes that the players had. And it's there. It will probably get done. But don't get your hopes up that you're going to wake up next week or 2 weeks from now and that patch will be live.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. So, I don't know though, guys. Like, I'm still positive because I still think it is the best game out there. And I know a lot of viewers out there love it, even if they don't play all that much anymore. I know we have great content creators, but how on earth can we just ask them to give us basically everything that we've always had? We don't even need more. Like, just give us everything that we always had and make sure that it works. Like, don't give a guy with 2000 MMR Master League. Don't let us wait a minute or a half to log into Battle.net. Please get rid of a guy who's using a literal, like, it's a cheat. The Lackhead, it's a literal cheat. Since when are we allowed to cheat in Blizzard games? I mean, I feel like they always had the best protection and security, didn't they?
Yeah, the last idea I just want to throw in there. Basically, this is the story I have been pushing in my community, in the Russian community, for the last few years. I can see that many people who are just enjoying the game, who are just regular viewers or maybe like casual players, they're getting tired of basically the same thing happening over and over again. And considering the fact that we don't have any kind of balance patches, and again, we are hoping for something to come, but we're not confident about it coming, especially in the next few months, I can see that there is an interest in some kind of content outside the actual classical esports StarCraft. So what I have been pushing for the last few years was first an All-Stars mode, which basically was a co-op commander PvP thing. And I know that many people were interested in it, many people were playing it. And I even saw our good friend Loco publishing a video with this mode basically a few days ago. Even though it was released like 3 years ago, it is still alive. People are still playing, sharing their replays, stuff like that. So there is like a local community around this thing, which is maybe not really interested in StarCraft esports, but they are with us. They are playing the game. They are interested in StarCraft in general. So creating this small local universe already maybe helped a lot StarCraft in general. And basically during the last month, I've held the 4th race contest, which was basically the contest for the mod, like the mod authors, who developed their own custom races for StarCraft 2. And basically what we did, we are currently planning and we are holding the tournament with the winner of this contest. So we'll basically have like the 4th custom race competing with Terran, Zerg, and Protoss. Of course, there might be like a lot of issues, balance, shenanigans, stuff like that. But we can see that people are interested because this is something new. This is kind of a viewing experience they were maybe lacking. Maybe they were tired of the same things happening in PvZ over and over again. And they're looking for some kind of another type of StarCraft content, and therefore this might be just one of the ideas what to do if we don't have any kind of patches, if we don't have any kind of changes in the game, but we want to bring something new. I feel there is a lot of potential behind a lot of things which are in StarCraft universe. It's not about just the actual esports, actual Terran, Zerg, and Protoss competing in the tournaments. It is about a whole pack of different things in StarCraft. So even though if there are no campaigns released, even though if there are no patches to be released, I feel there is a potential to create some kind of content to make people happy, to make them entertained. That's what I think.
Koka, I know that you don't have all the time in the world today, so I want to give you an opportunity to just basically speak about everything else that we just discussed. And like I do know, by the way, before I let you go, that we are going to have some news soon coming from the ESL boys. I think Apollo and Hayoken have some pretty cool news for us in regards of 2022. So it's definitely not all bad, guys, but it's also important, I think, that we should be able to raise our concerns and address issues that are clearly there. We can't just not talk about them and pretend that they aren't there. Yeah, Coco. The mind is full of all the hard ones, guys. Koka, go ahead, mate.
Well, yeah, definitely. To conclude for me, on my part, like all the hope I have goes to people like Apollo and Ayoka, because they are two clever guys and they have the power to maybe do something. Because I feel like I can't do anything, right? I'm just like you, starting a game, trying to log. When I go on AEM on NA, I gotta wait for 1 minute. So yeah, I'm leaving the bug with you, but there are two guys at ESL that are able to maybe change the world that we are living in, and I hope they're gonna do some great work with Blizzard and Susie to make them do the good choice. But yeah, we'll see. And yeah, I'm gonna leave on that one. Thanks a lot for the invite. That was cool. And
all right,
yeah, tell me.
Yeah, before you leave, thank you very much, of course, for joining us. Tell us what's going on in your life quickly. Where can we find you? Because I know you're streaming a lot as well. Do a little plug for yourself real quick.
Oh yeah, so you can find me on Twitch TV, Twitch Koka's TV, like twitch.tv/Koka. Yeah, that's how we say it in English. Yeah, I'm streaming a lot of games recently and playing a lot of Age of Empires 4 also because the game is really cool. But don't worry, they have exactly the same issues as StarCraft. Like the Age of Empires 2 remaster was way better in terms of functionalities and the way you could play it. Like you could change hotkeys basically that you can't do in Age of Empires 4. So the world is dark on StarCraft, but it's also dark outside. But yeah, you can find me there. I'm streaming every day from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m.
Mm-hmm.
And like Pokemon, Melee, StarCraft, sometimes also Age of Empires. I'm playing a lot of games, so yeah. Don't hesitate. And also gaming live nearly every day, organizing shit, like having fun, the least we can do. And I know like a French caster tournament is coming soon, so yeah, no GSL. So yeah.
Are you gonna take down Yogo? Take down Yogo for me.
No, I can't. I can't. This guy is too good. But yeah. Yoga is gonna win, and then we'll see what happens. But yeah, thanks a lot for the invite. Bye, guys.
Thank you, Koka. Have a lovely Wednesday. Truly appreciate you taking some time out of your day. I think, that's always fun, right? There's still so many fun things we can do in StarCraft. Like, I really don't think we've done it all. But obviously, we need a little bit of love in return. But I do think, can only echo what he said there when it comes to Apollo and Ioken. Let's see what they have in store for us. I think it's coming later this month, so within 2 or 3 weeks. And then after that, they're also going to make an appearance on the Pylon show. So you guys can obviously ask them whatever you want as well, and I will make sure to forward those questions. But Demi, what do you make of all of it, mate?
I mean, for me, it's like StarCraft 2, in my eyes, is still the best strategy game out there. But I don't mind, like, I think ZVT and ZVZ, at least for me, are pretty enjoyable. But ZVP is just very suffocating for me to play. So it's like, Korea ladder, I feel like I get a pretty good diversity. But then when the Korea ladder starts dying out and I go to Europe, it's like 90% of my games are only Protoss. So it's not very fun for me to play. It's like, I either have two choices. I either learn to play late game and get used to these 30-40 minute games, or I just queen walk and pray that he messes up. I think the other issue for me on Career Ladder per se would be the matchmaking feels really odd, where there are games where there are very few games that I play where I'm close with my opponent in terms of MMR and skill. I either get games where, like a few days ago, I was running into a bunch of diamond players at like 4.4, 4.5 MMR. And then the very next game, I get someone that's 6.6. I'm like, well, okay. I don't know if people are not playing the game anymore or what. I kind of do understand, like, as a spectator, if you have to watching ZVP in the current meta, it's just not fun. It's not fun for the players. It's not fun for the viewers. So I hope there's change, and I hope we do see something soon. Because I know a lot of the Australian boys, they're just kind of sick of this current meta. Where, like, I asked a lot of them, like, what would it take for them to come back and play this game? Because they're all kind of busy with AoE in it. And some of them are even...
I do have one counter argument. Like, a lot of people say, like, the current meta, but other than PvZ, what is so bad about the games that we're currently playing and watching? Because I honestly think the tournaments are more exciting than they have been in a very long time, and I think the player level is higher than I've seen it in a very long time, at least at the upper echelon. So, Indy and Alex, do you guys think there is a problem outside of PvZ, or is it mostly PvZ?
I think we had a problem with PvZ. Nowadays, the meta seems to shifted a little bit, but I think Protoss have a world of trouble against Terran. At least that's my experience.
Okay, I'm not talking balance right now, guys. Like, we talk about balance all the time, and we'll leave that to everyone else that wants to talk about which ratio is more powerful. It is obvious that Protoss is underperforming in the biggest tournaments out there, other than Trap winning a couple tournaments a while ago. But that's not important. I'm talking about pure entertainment to play and watch right now.
It all comes down to the players. Like, if they want, they can be aggressive and entertaining. In my opinion, it's just their style. And obviously, the maps are promoting defensive styles, so that's an issue, I would say. But overall, the match is going to be absolutely amazing, and I'm very often surprised by how good they are, even in the early stages.
Alex, do you share my opinion or disagree? Obviously, feel free to disagree.
Yeah, I'm not even sure if the PvZ itself is a huge problem. For me, the biggest problem is the stalemate we have in all those in meta, basically in every matchup. Like people might even getting tired of things like Maru Serral if they happen every day. Like if you
I
see,
agree.
yeah, the same build strategies, late game things over and over again, you will quickly become tired of them. So ZVP, we all look at this matchup and see and say that it is in a bad shape because we see the same thing over and over again, like all those mass air battles. Like if you recall it a few years ago, we were like, yeah, this is the proper macro, the proper StarCraft. It looks amazing. Those epic battles, they are like absolutely cool. But now we are just tired of them. So outside of balance things, I believe that like we still need to shuffle meta in every matchup basically. This is extremely important for people to not get tired of anything happening in StarCraft, like not in any particular matchup. So I can't say any crucial issues and flows in any of the matchups from the viewer's perspective, but I'm worried that nothing changes for like a year and a half or something. So yeah, for me, changing the meta in general is important, not like the balance in certain matchup and stuff like that.
Well, I think obviously changes are, it's always nice, right? Because StarCraft 2 is not the same game as Brood War, and it's obviously mechanically it's a little more doable. So yes, you are going to see certain things over and over again. But when it comes to Maru against Serral, like if I watch their most recent Best of 7 and King of Battles, some of the most entertaining and best games we've seen in a long time. I think a bigger issue then is oversaturation. Yes, if you give me Serral against Clem, no matter how fun it is, if you give it to me 4 times in 3 weeks, yeah, it becomes a lot less special. But I think that goes for everything in life. Like, I love Formula One, but if you give me a Formula One race every day, I'm going to be tired of it, like, after 14 days, you know? Like, obviously, we need to space things out. And a lot of the tournaments lately, I think especially in COVID, they all use the same format. Server qualifier is open to everyone. Let's have 8 of them. So then you have 4 big tournaments. You have 32 server qualifiers. Yeah, you're going to see a lot of the same matches. And I think that is obviously an issue, but I think that's a slightly different issue than just the meta. Because, yeah, maybe if we switch up the map pool a little bit, we play on some more wide open maps, some more slightly smaller maps than Glittering Ashes and Pride of Altruis. I think the games will look different, and I think you do see variety. I think even right now, if I look at esports StarCraft over the last 3 weeks, I don't feel like we see the same builds in every single matchup. Even in PvZ, I feel like it's actually becoming a bit better because we are slowly but steady moving away from Void Rays every game. We still see them a lot, but it's not every game. So in that regard, I don't really necessarily share the same sentiment as Demi, where I'm like, the meta is so stale, the meta is this, we need a patch. I don't think it's the most important thing in the world, but I also know that not everyone shares his opinion, so that's okay. How do you see it, Indy?
Yeah, well, it's fine for me as it is, but on the other side, if I were to change time and be responsible for the, I would call this position balance and entertainment position in Blizzard, I would really shuffle the units that the race has, because like when you're a viewer and you're seeing over and over, oh, Void Ray, Oracle, Phoenix, okay, so he's probably playing the same thing, but we notice the difference, like the timing, or maybe this time he made a third or fourth Oracle, usually he makes 1 or 2, but for the viewer, that's not really easily noticeable because maybe he's doing something at the same time. So I think that changing the units more often and making more chaos would be probably more fun for the viewers. So of course, the pros wouldn't like it as much. But if I were in this position, I would go towards big changes every single year. No, yeah, probably every single year, maybe every 6 months.
I mean, I don't know if we're dreaming here, but I do think all 4 of us would appreciate the idea of something we had a while ago, right? Where after BlizzCon, you get the big patch where units completely change and damages change. Yeah, I obviously think for all of us, I think we all applaud the idea of after Katowice 2022, make it a big patch. Even if it's the last one you ever give us, okay? Make it very different. Make units like give oracles purple laser beams for all I care. Make them annihilate buildings, give them a new spell. But I don't know if any of that is realistic though, guys, no matter how much we would all love to see it. And we think that's good. I am not counting on anything like that. And I don't think any of you really are.
And then seeing some Age of Empires tournaments, like for me, it's super entertaining to see that the player only can win with one civilization, and then he has to change it. And there's 8 different ones. So of course they are similar, but in some parts or the other. But having idea that in StarCraft maybe you have to win a best of 5, but you cannot play the same race that you won with before would be, I don't know. I would like to see it, honestly. But again, that would probably need to happen for a few years at least, so that the players can master lots of races. But then the surprise or the it would be less mechanical and more creative, and I think that could make a better show.
Thanks, Indy. Finally, my 11 years of practicing random will pay off. Finally, thanks. This idea, literally the best thing ever happened to StarCraft 2. Thank you.
Demi, you're the one who started this entire conversation after listening to all three of us speaking up a little bit. Is there something else you want to add?
I think for games like StarCraft, I think it is important to have changes every now and then to keep the game fresh. I think we've been in this meta for like a year and a half. So it is kind of boring playing the same thing again and again. For me personally, I would like to see some change. And hopefully we get to see that after Katowice. But yeah, here's to me hoping that there is some change, there is some shakeup. Because I do think StarCraft is the best RTS game out there compared to any other game. Because I'm in the Discord with a bunch of Australians, and they were like, there are certain things that StarCraft has that is simply better than AoE 4. But for us to come back and play SC2, like, a patch is needed. So yeah.
Okay, I think that's fair. So I think before we wrap all of this up, and obviously if you guys have anything else that's big or something that you think would be awesome, feel free to share it before we enter the Q&A. You know, Demi, this is the first time that you're joining us on the Pylon Show. Talk to us a little bit about esports in India overall, and obviously you are like their main RTS guy. Do people like StarCraft over in India? Do you feel like there was ever an opportunity to maybe host a big event? Just basically anything.
I think initially when I first came on to StarCraft, there was a big Indian scene because we would have tournaments every other week. But I think going towards Heart of the Storm, people started shifting games. Like, I know a lot of the guys, I know the person that was doing StarCraft 2 tournaments once upon a time actually started doing big things with his own organization for Dota 2. But slowly but surely, that also seemed to die down. About the esports scene in India, I'm not really so sure. I think if you take a couple of years back, like 3-4 years back, I think Dota 2 was the next big thing, but that seems to also slowly die down, players sort of leaving that game. But I think towards Heart of the Swarm, I feel like I was the only Indian guy that was actually playing StarCraft, and everyone else were either playing League, CSGO, or like Dota. So, yeah. So I think it's safe to say that I'm the only one that's passionate about StarCraft 2 from India.
Oh, keep carrying the torch.
That's a very sad story.
Keep carrying that torch. I don't care, mate. March down those streets and make us proud. No, I think it's awesome that you're still here and you're still a good StarCraft player after all these years, even if you're a little bit on your own. Alex, Indy, we obviously have a lot of wishes, and I think we all kind of want things to go the same way. So one last thing you want to get off your chest before we enter a potential Q&A, because I don't know if we have one.
Well,
have faith.
Go you.
Indy, go first.
Oh yeah, just have faith, guys, and yeah, I also hope for the after the World Championship we will have hopefully something big, and there's hope for that. There's true hope. There's rumors, but there's real hope for that.
Alex?
I don't want to say I have hope. I have faith. I have faith that something good is still going to happen with StarCraft. Maybe it's somehow connected with ESL, maybe not. The last shout out I want to give is I want to say a huge thank you to the guys from Kazakhstan, because basically last weekend I was at offline event there. An offline event with StarCraft 2, of course. And the next month, basically already this month in December, they have another offline event featuring StarCraft 2. Kazakhstan is not like the biggest country in the world in terms of an interest to StarCraft. It's not South Korea, right? But there are still people there who do care about StarCraft. There are still StarCraft fans, StarCraft players. There is like a local StarCraft scene, and there are local tournament organizers who also care about StarCraft. So huge shout out to them, to these Alaman tournaments I've visited and I'm planning to visit. Yeah, these guys are amazing. I'm really shocked in terms of like the amount of attention they put to our favorite game. Because basically in Ukraine, the last offline event we had, let me think. I'm pretty sure it was WCS circuit in 2019. I can't recognize anything after that. But in a country like Kazakhstan, which is much smaller in terms of the amount of gamers, the amount of people who are interested in StarCraft, they literally had like 6 or 7 offline events featuring StarCraft during the last few years. So that's amazing.
That is honestly super cool. I had no idea that any of that was happening. So I'm really happy that you brought that up. Do you fly there? Is it like an actual tournament, or is it just a community getting together and having fun stuff?
No.
And which city is it, by the way?
So the last weekend I was at Turkestan, which is like the southwest western part of Kazakhstan. And in the end of December, there is an event in Almaty, which is basically one of the biggest cities in Kazakhstan. It is not like 100% confirmed, but yeah, the plan is to visit the competition. And actually, like the offline event, it is a national competition in many different titles. Like there is CSGO, Dota 2, some other events, and StarCraft 2 is always there. It's always around. So yeah, that's great.
Well, super cool, man. I'm kind of jealous, actually. I've never been to Kazakhstan. Sounds like a good time. I'm happy you brought it up. Yeah, I think we can all then just kind of end it on this note. Is that sure, sometimes things look grim, but I think in the end of the day, guys, we still have literally the best RTS out there, because every other RTS, the units don't respond. Or it feels like it's a second before they respond. And I still think we have a great scene. Even if the meta is perhaps not perfect, I think the esports tournaments at the moment are still incredibly entertaining. We have a lot of very passionate people working hard on StarCraft, and I do hope that Blizzard is just going to acknowledge that and hopefully gives us a little more. I don't think we're not hoping for the world. We don't expect them to put the same amount of time and effort into StarCraft as they do in Overwatch League or whatever else, but just have like 2-3 people, please. Ban some donkeys on the ladder. Give us a functioning ladder, like we've always had a functioning ladder. And I honestly think then everything is going to be okay. We'll get some cool news soon from Apollo and Hyoken, and we'll obviously cover that on the Pylon show as well. So now I only have one question. Cobra, do we have a Patreon Q&A?
Yes, we do. We got a couple questions. Let me pull those up real quick.
And obviously, you guys, I think, can still enter a question as well. If you do that quickly, we do that over Discord. I know it's been a little while that the Pylon show was live, but the traveling for me is definitely done at this point. So we'll try to make it a little more consistent again. So just we can talk about a favorite video game, and we can talk about all the great things that all these passionate individuals out there are still making possible. First question is by Polly. Creighton tweeted about not getting paid by ESL, but seems he was after making it public. So to everyone, what was your worst experience with tournament organizers as a caster or a player? I saw that tweet. Where do I even start? Like, it is not a secret that sometimes esports tournaments pay late, and it shouldn't be acceptable. And I think everyone should always have the right to speak up about not getting paid in time, because the people that work for the companies, they get paid in time. So the contractors should absolutely get paid in time as well. There was a little more to the Creighton Olsen story, though, about a contract, about basically getting paid for days that didn't happen. So it was a breach of contract because they thought he didn't want to work the event. It's all a bit complicated. I don't know what to make of it. At least I can tell you guys that ESL is not a bad company in general to get paid by. Now, I am very lucky because I have a unique setup where all of my finances go through Take TV, and they obviously get a little bit of it, but I actually don't rely on when ESL pays Take TV, but I do know that it definitely takes a while sometimes, but ESL always pays, and I think that's the most important thing. Of course, everyone should get paid in time, but they do at least always pay. I can tell you guys quickly that the worst experience I've had as a player is that I was incredibly happy when I made top 4 in the Warcraft 3 tournament for Digital Life in the year 2007, 2008. I got $1,000, which may not sound like a whole lot, but in 2007 it was really hard to earn $1,000 playing video games. So I was over the moon. I went shopping in New York. I was happy. Got home. Nobody answered any emails. Nobody answered any calls. Somehow got a phone number. A guy picked up. He's like, "How did you get my phone number?" I'm like, "I just want my prize money." And I never got my prize money, and it made me a very sad little boy. Indy, what's your worst experience?
I wouldn't necessarily call it worst, but it took the most time to be paid, and it was by ESL. But actually, I didn't remind them about the payment. Like everyone else got paid besides me. That's what I heard. But it took like 10 or 11 months. But at any point of time, I wasn't like shake or what's happening. I wasn't angry at all because I knew that whenever I reach Apollo, he will take care of things. And after some time, he obviously did. So yeah, it took a lot of time, but there was my mistakes along the way because I didn't like I sent all the info, but I didn't like reminded myself like even once. So I asked about it like about 7 months. So that's when they started the process, and then there was some trouble with accountants. So but Apollo is a great guy, and he took care of it all. But it was like one time thing, and next time so I got paid like in 3-4 months. So I'm used to getting this kind of payments in esports late. So yeah, but some are really quick, and that's awesome, of course.
Demi?
I think for me, the best experience I had was actually being able to fly to Australia and compete on LAN, where I'm not. I think around that time it was 2018 where I got to play the WCS top 8 for our region for the ANZ scene at a LAN, and I think for me just playing on LAN, playing on Sage, that for me was the best experience I ever had. Even though I didn't qualify, where I narrowly lost to NXZ, that was probably the best experience I had playing on stage with a bunch of people kind of cheering for you, even though you're not their countryman. It was probably the best experience I've had. I think for me, one of the worst experiences I had was I was trying to close a game, so I just made broodlords, and I think when WCS was still doing things, they said you weren't supposed to have skins. I think this was before we had WCS Game Hard. So I think I turned off the skins for like every single unit except the Broodlord, and they were like, "Oh, your Broodlords had skins, so we're going to have to push you to a game 3," and that kind of stressed me out. So I think for me, that was the only single bad experience that I had personally.
Alex?
Yeah, in terms of playing experience, of course, I didn't win anything as a player. So if you don't win anything, you don't have any issues in receiving prize money, right? In terms of my casting experience, yeah, I had some kind of issues where I like wasn't able to receive a payment for a year or even maybe a year and a half. But there were some serious reasons behind, like starting from certain period, it is not super easy for a Russian company to send some money to like a Ukrainian entrepreneur. Like there are many different things which complicate the whole process. So again, there were reasons behind it. And B, it's not like I was reminding about myself like every month or something. I wasn't rushing, so I can't say it was like the worst experience. It was bad, but there were reasons behind this.
I mean, I could have an entire podcast about my 11 years of a StarCraft 2 commentator, where I have way too many stories where it goes to flying to England for obviously not getting paid, but at least get the opportunity. And then I slept in some sort of a horse farm or whatever it was. And I was stuck in the mud. It was raining. It was cold. I was shivering. I'm like, why am I doing this to myself? I'm such an idiot. Should have paid more attention in high school. But in the end, it all came okay. Like, I've definitely had, like, throughout, the 15 years I've done ESL events, I've had to wait for payments in the past as well, but with ESL I was never worried because I know that they always pay. So sometimes it took a bit longer than it was supposed to, and that's annoying, like 2 months, 3 months, maybe 4 months, but at least they have always paid every single dollar they ever promised to pay me, and they also take really good care of us at events these days. So I know some people think like, oh, Rotti is just sucking the penis of ESL because he wants to get hired. Honestly, not. If I had big issues, I would speak up because I'm a grown man and I do not like to get screwed over either. But ESL honestly takes incredibly good care of us in this day and age. When you get invited to an event, you know, they pick you up at the airport, they drive you to the hotel, they arrange nice sleeping places, they'll cover your meals. If you have any other wishes, they'll make it happen. And the payments, they're always there. Sometimes maybe, yes, 2-3 weeks later than they're supposed to, maybe even a month. But it's honestly, ESL is very good. Like I get a lot more nervous when I have to invoice like a Chinese company, and then it's like 3 months, no answer back. And I'm like, yeah, am I ever going to see this money? And then suddenly 9 months later, I get a message. So like, your payment has been processed. I was like, really? I'm still getting paid? Like, I already gave up. But ESL in general, I'm not too concerned. Anyway, thank you for your question, Polly. I appreciate it. Hopefully you enjoyed our answers. Thomas Clint, happy 1st of December to all, and I hope you're doing well. What do you wish for Christmas besides a balance patch for your race, obviously? Indy, what do you wish for Christmas, matey?
Wait, in terms of balance?
No. Not in terms of balance. Anything else other than a balance patch?
Jesus, but in StarCraft, but or a
No,
material
anything
thing?
in your life, mate. Make it personal.
Wow.
Talk about whatever you want.
Losing a belly, probably. It's my biggest wish for Christmas, but I'm working on it. I'm working on it. Hopefully this time it will work. Yeah, but yeah, I would like to see the light in the StarCraft scene as well. Some good news from Blizzard. Yeah, that would be an amazing present as well. But yeah, other than that, I enjoying the life as it is. I don't have like huge present that I wanna get for Christmas. I used to have some as a child, but now like it's all good. Trying to enjoy and yeah, just a good info.
Demi?
I think for me, so last year I started studying again because I figured I definitely needed to do something because my college degree was only 3 years, and if I wanted to ever do a master's degree, I needed 4 years of college. So I finished the course. So I guess for me, I don't really want anything for Christmas, just that hopefully I get an internship, which would really help me, propel me, and push me in the right direction. I think if I had to look at myself right now, I have everything I ever want. I guess the only thing that I would want right now is an internship. So yeah, that's basically it for me.
Alex, any wishes for the holidays?
Well, besides the obvious Void Ray and Carrier nerf, basically on December 25th, if all goes well, it's the day I'm attending the offline event. So my Christmas wish would be many people being there and being happy about this offline event and everything going well. That's it.
All right, well said. I think I'm with you, Indy. I would also like to lose a couple of kilograms, but I have the feeling the opposite is going to happen. Not really. I don't really have any big wishes, guys. I just hope for a fun day with family, that everyone may stay healthy, and that I can cuddle my brother's dogs all day long. That's the only thing that I think I really wish for. Thank you for your question, and thank you for your support to the Pylon Show. Sir Steinwinkel. After getting back into Brood War these last few years, I was wondering whether SC2 would be better if it had the unit selection count at 12 or maybe 24. Do you think the decision to have an unlimited unit count has been good for the game? I agree with the need for a big patch. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas to you as well. Alex, StarCraft 2 with unit selection of 12 units or 24. What do you think?
Well, I have a lot of jokes in mind, but if we want to answer seriously, and we probably do, I would say that it is really important for, in modern gaming market, to keep the game mechanically simple while not losing its competitiveness. When you're making a decision like this, basically being able to select an unlimited amount of units, you're not losing any kind of competitiveness in the game, but you're making it more simple and more available for the large groups of players. So in terms of the actual game design, it is an absolutely correct decision. Even though having these limitations in Brood War might have helped that time, for a modern game, for a game which we play in 2021, it is extremely important for the game to be mechanical, not simple, but it is important to not put any kind of additional complexness into the actual mechanics of the game. So yeah, for me, the decision was absolutely right, as well as some other things which become more simple in StarCraft 2 compared to Brood War.
Indy, do you have anything to add, or Demi? If you guys don't, no worries.
Maybe there is some to it, but why making second Brood War, right? let's make this game a little bit different, because that would have a lot of consequences if we were to limit selection. So I wouldn't change that, obviously.
I wouldn't
Demi?
change it either. I think if you limited the unit selection to 12 or 24, it would make the game unnecessarily hard. Like, I think mechanically we should keep the game as simple as possible. So yeah, that's it for me, I guess, on that.
I wouldn't be playing, guys, if all I can do it. Well, I guess with Protoss it'd be maybe
Protoss,
all
yeah.
right. Yeah, like 12 stalkers, 12 carriers. Okay, I can work with this, but I cannot imagine having to use 17 groups with 12 Zerglings. Come on, mate. That's just no. I think that was not. There are many things that I wish they would have done different, and like maybe in a weird way. And I noticed this while I'm watching Warcraft 3 with a bugged overlay one game. I actually think RTS is more fun to watch with less info. But it's just that we have always given the observers all the info.
Yeah.
Now when people tune in, they want to see all the numbers. But I actually think not seeing supplies, not seeing maybe all the upgrades or the bank all the time, but especially I think the supplies, I think it makes the game actually a little more exciting.
Yeah.
And it would actually force commentators to actually know the game rather than just read up some numbers. And I kind of wish that we didn't have all this information. I wish they would have kept it a little more in the dark, a little more suspense.
I think removing production tab would be nice to some extent. Yeah. I would go for that change, honestly. Like let's go. Last year, crazy thing with the overlay and the crazy unit selection. You get the Reaver. Yeah, I would be up for that, because I think they do it like sometimes you get hooked by the surprise, or you don't know what's gonna happen. So all of a sudden you see a few High Templars storming. I think that's great, because now you see like 30 seconds before that the High Templar comes and he will storm, but now you're not gonna notice it.
No,
so I think that would
I'm
make it better.
There was one year, I don't know which Katowice it was, but maybe it was Katowice 2019, where like 2 days
18
before,
maybe. Yeah.
18 or 19, 2 days before the event, Apollo comes up to us. He's like, We're gonna do this event without production tab. I'm like, or without any info whatsoever. I was like, you sure about that, mate? He's like, I think it's a great idea. We need to do something different. I was like, I don't hate it, but I was like, I don't think you can let people watch all year long and then suddenly take away all the info they're so used to. Like, you need to build that up. But I think it'd be sick as well.
I also remember I was observing with Mapu that event, and when the first game happened, I remember Apollo was next to us, and Mapu was like, should I turn the production tab on or not? And Apollo was like, maybe, but he wasn't so convinced at this very moment. But I would go for that. Like, let's try, let's go. But then you have to put probably this sign that no production tab this event for the whole time, for that, so people can know and not ask.
Be surprised and figure out which commentator actually knows the game. It's gonna be fun, guys. What do you say, Alex?
I can say I'm with you in terms of removing the production tab and stuff like that, because I feel that there's also some beauty in these moments when like the player starts, for example, starts building some unit, then cancels it, then makes another decision. And if you're able to catch everything and explain this to the viewers, viewers will appreciate. And of course, it is like another cool thing, another cool interaction between the commentator and the game and the viewers. So I feel that the more information I have, like from my own point of view, the better my commentating will be. So the better content I'm able to produce. Therefore, I'm looking for as much information as possible. But maybe I'm wrong. I'm not sure. From the viewer's perspective, I don't have like any opinion on how this might perform comparing to our current standards.
Alrighty, moving on, guys. Moving on. What else do we have? Lino, awesome story by Alex. Thank you, Lino. How are you doing, matey? To all the guests, can you share your first time attending an SC2 event? Looking forward to maybe seeing some at the Home Story Cup. Also, good luck to Demi if you make it to Katowice. What is Demi studying? Maybe a remote Shopify intern like Violet. I'll let you go first, Demi.
I think the first SE2 event I attended was IEM in Pyeongchang. It was a really scary moment for me because I've never traveled in like 14 years, so this was my first time going solo. But I remember like meeting everyone for the first time, and everyone was so like warm and very easily approachable. I think the first person that I actually met, the first player, was Panda Bami, and we went. There was actually a convenience store right outside our hotel, and we went and had ramen. So even though I kind of got destroyed by Special O3, I think for me the experience of playing on Korea with zero ping, that was an amazing moment for me. And as for what I'm studying, I'm studying marketing management, but in marketing, one of the subjects that I really enjoyed was digital marketing. So I'm hoping to get an internship in that. So maybe if I know Shopify hooked up Select, and they also hooked up. There was an NA Zerg that they hooked up recently. I forgot his name, but he basically tweeted at Toby like looking for an internship in New York, and they hooked him up. So maybe if they're able to do the same for me, that would be amazing.
Mm-hmm. Pretty cool. All right. Did we cover what else did Lino ask? He said awesome story. Alex asked about Demi. I think that was it, right, Cobra? Or I feel like I forgot the actual question. I was distracted.
The first event that we attended. I think.
Okay, Indy. Sorry, go ahead. What was the first event you attended?
2011, and that was this little event in Poland. I believe I was 16, and oh yeah, I remember now. Yeah, it was like east of Warsaw, so I had to travel, of course, but and I had to go with my brother because going on my own when I was 16, my parents obviously were scared. But in the end, amazing experience because I was the only one to take map of Tarson on this event. You probably remember Tarson, the Drunk Terran. And yeah, going to the finals against him on my first event ever, it was like surrealistic. So yeah, I felt amazing. I remember going back and being super scared that someone will rob me because the people around didn't. It was like 2 a.m. in the morning, and people around didn't seem very pleasant. Like they were all a little bit offensive, but none of the players, of course. But yeah, overall amazing tournament and good memory.
Alex?
Yeah, for me, basically, I've answered this question a lot of times, so it is even possible to grab some picture and insert into my answer right now. Yeah, that's it. Basically, this is the picture from World Cyber Games Ukraine 2010. And this is July 31st of 2010. This is me talking, and close to me is also the guy who is currently like famous in Dota 2. And he's one of my best friends. We started our esports careers together those times. So yeah, basically it was the national finals of World Cyber Games, and me and also were there to cover StarCraft Brood War. So we commentated the games of legends like Whiterun, Strelog, Dimaga, and all the other guys. And yeah, there were Counter-Strike, Warcraft, and other gaming people there. It was a very cool, enjoyable experience. So basically my first offline event was already an event where I provided my commentary. And starting from that point, I feel... I'm not sure if I ever attended an offline event just as a viewer. Pretty sure I was at any offline event either as an organizer, referee, or a caster, so I just had any kind of roles except the viewing role, actually.
I mean, I obviously, when StarCraft 2 came out, I already went to a lot of Warcraft 3 events in those 5 or 6 years prior to that release, but the actual first event I attended was, believe it or not, in an internet cafe that's also a coffee shop in Amsterdam. And contrary to popular belief, I do not smoke weed. But if you are in a coffee shop and that smell is around you for 12 hours, it does really start affecting you. And I still remember I lost the upper bracket final of the lower bracket. So when there were 3 players left, it was 2-gate against 2-gate. And I lost my Pylon that was powering my 2 gateways to a probe. literally a probe just zapping away. It was proxy against proxy, and I'm so busy microing my zealots after being in this stupid coffee shop for 12 hours, and I'm super lightheaded, and I literally lost the game because a freaking probe killed my pylon that powered my proxy 2 gates. That is the first time I ever went to a StarCraft 2 event. I was like, I want more. Nah. Oh yeah, that was the first of many. All right, moving on. What else did we got? It's been a long show already. Lord Philliam, silly question for the upcoming holidays. So since Vanya changed his name to Ratata, apparently, because it's not Ratata, Rotatata. If Maru, Rogue, Serral, and Reynor changed their names to Pokemon, what Pokemon would they be? Thank you all for your time and everything you do for the scene today. I honestly think Maru, Rogue, Serral, Reynor. Okay. Demi, do you follow Pokemon at all? Do you know Pokemon?
I know Pokemon, but I haven't watched it in a very long time, so I don't know what Pokemon I would link to these players, honestly.
All right. Alex, do you have anything?
I don't have a proper answer, especially considering the fact I have to translate even if I come up with some kind of solution. So, yeah.
Indy.
Yeah, 20 years ago, but Maru Diglett, Rogue would be... No, Rogue would be Diglett, Maru would be Pikachu, and Serral probably Charizard.
Charizard.
That would be that would be it.
I think I would make... this is a good question. I feel like Maru should be like Mewtwo, you know, kind of mysterious, but the big boss of the
He's
original.
small but always win. It's Pikachu, man.
Rogue. Who would Rogue be? I feel like Rogue could be just a little Charmander. We'll make Serral a Bulbasaur. We'll make Reynor a Squirtle. Something like, I don't know. All right, thank you for your question. Do we have more? Yes, we do. Oh, great. The Real S2 updates every 1 month. Will we ever get a Rotti announcer pack? I can answer that myself, and then we can move on. The answer is no. I had that opportunity many times over the last few years. It became a bit of a meme at one point where Blizzard, when they still had a lovely bunch of employees that basically all work for Frostgiant now, or at least 98% of the people that I'm referring to work for Frostgiant now. They were always like, when is that announcer pack coming, Rotti? When is it coming? But I honestly didn't feel too good about it, and I really don't want to offer something that then people spend money on if I don't feel good about it. I didn't want you guys to spend money on a product where I'm like, I don't think it's going to be that good. I don't think it's going to be that different than what the other guys have already done. I don't like making something for the sake of making something and then seeing you guys spend your hard-earned money on it. So that's why it didn't happen back then, and it will obviously not happen now in 2021. But maybe in Frostgiant, who knows? Maybe if one day that beautiful game comes out and we're all going strong and loving video games, maybe you'll see a Rotti announcer pack. Ravi, Hey guys, you're in control of a media day for an offline event and can make any player do almost anything within reason for downtime content. What do you make players do? You can make specific players do something too. Thanks, big fan. All right, Indy, tell us, how creative are you?
I would make them compete in some physical sports, probably. Maybe running, who runs the fastest. Like, well, that wouldn't be too much of a content, I guess, but maybe something like that. Not wrestle, because they cannot have injury. Maybe, maybe, I don't know how it's called, penalties. The one has to defend, the other one has to shoot, yeah. Or the basketball, because it's not, yeah. Yeah, so some competition like that.
Demi.
Honestly, not sure what I do, honestly. I'd have to really have a proper think. I mean, I need to thoroughly think this through of what would actually be fun, so I'm out of ideas.
All right, Alex.
Yeah, the thing is, you can throw many different ideas in there, but basically, if the person is not really involved, is not really interested, I'm pretty sure people will not watch it. So basically, if you force a guy who's not into football to take part in this penalty activity, I'm pretty sure that there won't be any kind of cool content. So for me, like the best idea is to throw people into the atmosphere they want to be in. So my approach here would be extremely easy. Just the balanced discussion, like literally Zerg against Protoss. They're standing against each other, like 3 Zergs and 3 Protoss, and they're throwing some kind of balance issues into each other, and they are discussing this without any kind of limitations. They can blame each other. They can say whatever words they want to. I'm pretty sure people will watch. I'm pretty sure this won't be in downtime. Like the tournament will be the downtime between those discussions. So
I want to go full Dutch here. I want to see them do speed skating on ice against each other. Just a whole competition. Everyone puts on some ice skates, speed skates, and just go 400-meter sprint. Let's go. I want to see them go around the track. I want to see them crash in the corners. I want to see them slip. It'd be amazing. Or some other extreme sport, like, I don't know. Put them on quads, and let them do like a rally through the Sahara Desert. That'd be sick. I would love to see who would actually, just be willing to go, not be hesitant, but just fully send it. I think it would be top tier content. I'd love it. But yeah, you need money for that. Anyway, moving on. What else did we got, Cobra?
That was it. That was our last one.
That was it. And then I want to give one big thank you to all of our Patreon supporters. We know that the Pylon Show has not been as consistent as it should be. We're going to try to work on that. But if they keep sending me abroad and nobody else wants to do it, there's not a whole lot I can do, guys. But a big thank you to everyone who's still showing love to the Pylon Show. And we'll definitely be back next week, or at least the week after, to cover everything else. And maybe we've got some great news in the world of StarCraft 2 then. So that is going to do it for me. Indy StarCraft, I'll start off with you when it comes to goodbyes. Thank you so much, mate, for taking a lot of time out of your day today. Do you have any final words? And tell us where we can find you.
Yeah, of course, thank you very much for invitation. If for some unknown reason you know Polish, you can watch me on Twitch TV /Indy StarCraft and all the social medias, but most important is YouTube. Indy StarCraft there as well. I put videos, matches every day. And yeah, thanks for the invitation.
Thank you, Indy matey. And I look forward to working with you this weekend because you are the dedicated
Let's
observer
go.
for TSL. That's correct. Demi, your first time on the Pylon Show, mate. How did you like it and where can we find you and what is the future in store for you?
Hey, Rotti, I had an amazing time. You can follow me on Twitter at DemiSC2. I've actually been, since there's going to be a lot of downtime for me, I've been meaning to start streaming a little bit just for fun and see where that goes. I'm honest. Initially, I was kind of scared of the idea because I still feel like my level is kind of shit, but I'm working up the courage to actually start streaming, hopefully maybe sometime around next week. So at DemiSC2 on Twitter if you want to follow me. Yeah, that's basically it for me.
Thank you, Demi. It was a lot of fun having you on here, mate, and hearing from you. Last but not least, we have the Passion Lord of the CIS region himself. Any name changes coming up for you, Alex? Like, what about the Raichu, maybe, after all these years? Are we considering that?
I don't know. I think I'm already too old for this thing, but we have a lot of young players in CS scene, so who knows? Maybe somebody's going to be Raichu in the next few months. So thanks for the invitation. That was a lot of fun to be here. In terms of where can you find my videos, my content, it's my YouTube channel. Basically, the link is right on your screen, youtube.com/Alex007AC2. And even if you don't know Russian, I believe it might be worth checking, for example, the tournament we are going to have this weekend, like the tournament with the 4th race. I was telling this story like some time ago, and I feel it might be worth checking, like how does this look? Does it look fresh for you? Because basically we are doing this to entertain people, to make a lot of content, and we have quite an okay prize pool, something like 1,100 USD, with a lot of great European GM players competing. So I hope there will be some fun, even if you don't know Russian.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Alex. I truly appreciate everything you are doing for StarCraft 2 and have been doing over the last few years. And it's always a pleasure to talk to you. So that is going to do it for all of us. I want to thank everyone for watching. Obviously, we'll upload this video to the Pylon Show YouTube channel. Just type in the Pylon Show over at YouTube and you can find all the VODs there. And then I'll hand over the word to our producer of the Pylon Show, who can close it out and wish you guys good night, morning, afternoon, wherever you may be. Thank you guys, and take it away, Cobra. It's all yours.
Thank you very much, everybody. For the end of the year Christmas special, we're going to be planning something a little bit extra special. So I've already started the planning for this. One of the things that's going to go out in the next week or two is the survey that we've been mentioning. And we're going to ask a bunch of questions about what you like on the Pylon Show, what you'd like to see. Doesn't mean we're going to actually do it. Of course, we can throw away your opinion, but we'd like to actually hear it because there might be some really good opinions, and we're going to see what you got. Other than that, that's it for me. Thank you very much, everybody.
Bye. Thanks,
Bye.
guys.
Bye bye.
Bye bye.